Chapter 83. When Qin Yu and Xiao He set out on their journey, in the headquarters of the town of Xiang, the moon is bright and the stars are few. Qin De is standing in the courtyard, raising his head to look at the moon in the sky with his hands behind his back. The outcome has been decided. His eyes are shining brightly. Obviously, he is very excited in his heart. This operation of taking control of the entire 2 northern region counties can be said to be perfect. From beginning to end, everything is going according to his plan. At that time he deliberately made an agreement with Shangguan Hong, saying that he wanted to form an alliance with him, just for this day. No matter whether Shangguan Hong is really forming an alliance with him or not, when the time comes for the uprising, Shangguan Hong will have to declare that he is on Qin De's side. At least, apart from some high-level officials, ordinary deputy generals and soldiers will not know the truth. Only in this way can he carry out his plan to take control of the entire 2 northern region counties at one stroke. Now that things have come to this, the Qin clan only needs to use a few tricks afterwards and the 2 northern region counties will no longer belong to the Shangguan clan, but to the Qin clan. Jingyi, you, watch from the sky. I'll definitely avenge you. The Xiang clan is destined to be trampled to the ground by me. Xiang Guang and Wu De will also definitely die. Qin De's eyes suddenly become fierce. His hands behind his back also clench so tightly that even his knuckles turn white. Hatred. It has always been hidden in Qin De's heart. Whether it is the death of his most beloved wife or the death of his youngest son, it devours his heart like ants every night. If he does not destroy the Xiang clan and kill Xiang Guang and Wu De, he will not be able to have a peaceful night. The darkness before dawn will eventually pass. Qin De has already seen the dawn of victory. 1 month. In 1 month, I'll unify the entire Chu kingdom, destroy the Xiang clan and kill Xiang Guang and Wu De. Qin De thinks to himself. Even though they have entered a stalemate at the moment, he is still very confident in his heart. The Xiang clan has lost 1 county. Now adding the Mu clan, it has 6 counties in total. The Qin clan and the Shangguan clan have 2 counties, so they have 6 counties in total. The 2 sides are evenly matched. However, the Qin clan's army is a bit stronger than the Xiang clan's army, while the Qin clan's army is an attacker. In a siege, the attacker usually loses more people than the defender. Generally speaking, the 2 sides are evenly matched, so they have entered a stalemate. But Qin De is already confident that he can unify the entire Chu kingdom within a month. In the wilderness, Qin Yu and Xiao He, extremely fast. Another one who doesn't want to live anymore. Qin Yu and Xiao He stopped again. An early Jin Dan leopard. It's a black-winged leopard. The black-winged leopard is considered a very special species among the leopards. It seems a little difficult to deal with him. Qin Yu transmitted his voice to Xiao He. Qin Yu's spiritual sense had already discovered the man several thousand meters away. The more powerful a demonic beast was, the harder it would be for it to take human form. For example, the king of eagles, the golden flame eagle. When Qin Yu and Xiao He encountered the golden flame eagle at the beginning, although it was already in the yuanying stage, it still hadn't transformed into a human. When Qin Yu and Xiao He encountered the golden flame eagle, they didn't even want to fight it. Instead, they directly escaped. As for the 3 foxes he had killed a few days ago, they could only be considered as ordinary foxes in the Fox clan. As for the black-winged leopard, although it could transform into a human after passing the 49 heavenly tribulations, it didn't seem to be that powerful. However, the black-winged leopard was very special. The black-winged leopard was extremely difficult to deal with. This was because of the black-winged leopard's speed. The leopard clan was originally famous for their speed. In terms of speed, there weren't any demonic beasts that could compare with the leopard clan. However, the black-winged leopard was the leopard clan that was most proficient in speed. One could imagine how fast the black-winged leopard was. If it was too fast, it would be very difficult to kill it. Xiao He, he's coming. Qin Yu's spiritual sense had completely locked onto the other party. Qin Yu's soul was constantly being nourished by Lu Xing's tears. His spiritual sense was also becoming stronger and stronger. The strength of Qin Yu's spiritual sense was not in line with his own strength. This was also the reason why Qin Yu had discovered the black winged leopard earlier than Xiao He. Big brother, it seems that the black winged leopard wants to attack us. Xiao He said arrogantly. A black lightning bolt shot over from afar. Its target was none other than Qin Yu. Qin Yu's eyes suddenly flashed. At the same time, his entire body suddenly turned into several phantoms. His hands turned into eagle claws, and like lightning, he continuously exchanged dozens of blows with the sneak attacker. You overestimate yourself. A faint cold smile appears on the corners of Qin Yu's mouth. This black-winged leopard has unexpectedly tried to kill him in every way. Qin Yu has also become ruthless. His eagle claw suddenly forms a finger sword. A misty light silvery stellar energy forms a sword silhouette. With a finger strike, Qin Yu pierces the black-winged leopard's palm. The black-winged leopard flew back several hundred meters. It then stood in the air. However, a hole appeared in its right palm. Blood flowed out. The Jin Dan stage black-winged leopard had already transformed into human form. Its entire body had a valiant aura. Its muscles were streamlined, very similar to Qin Yu's. To be precise, this black-winged leopard's body was very similar to Qin Yu's body. However, its aura was more valiant than Qin Yu's. Were you the ones who killed the 3 Yen sisters? Speak. The black-winged leopard didn't seem to realize the difference between them. Instead, it shouted. Qin Yu crossed his arms in front of his chest. He slightly raised his chin and smiled. Oh. So what if I killed them? So what if I didn't kill them? Could it be that you want to take revenge? Or are you related to the 3 Yen sisters? Are they your old lovers? Qin Yu joked. Although this black-winged leopard was fast, it was only at the early Jin Dan stage. Compared to Qin Yu, who was also good at speed, it was still slightly inferior. If it was a middle Jin Dan stage black-winged leopard, Qin Yu would have to expend a lot of effort. If it was a late Jin Dan stage black-winged leopard, Qin Yu's speed would probably be inferior. Qin Yu probably wouldn't be able to defeat it so easily. Unfortunately, the guy in front of him was only at the early Jin Dan stage. Humph, I don't know where you two came from. Don't you know that the area within 3,000 miles is the territory of the Shen brothers? I am Shen Yi of the Shen brothers. The Yen sisters are our people. You actually dared to kill the 3 Yen sisters? Shen Yi's eyes flickered with resentment. Shen Yi was covered in beast skin. His muscles and bones were like copper and iron. He looked very valiant. Unfortunately, Qin Yu didn't care about his anger at all. Oh. Looks like you Shen brothers have been looking for us for a long time. Qin Yu smiled faintly. Shen Yi's face darkened. Indeed, when they found out that the 3 Yen sisters were dead, they immediately started searching. They were very sure that the demonic beasts in their territory wouldn't dare to do anything to the Yen sisters. Even if they wanted to, they didn't have the strength to do so. Therefore, only demonic beasts from outside the territory could be here. The Shen brothers started searching. Finally, Shen Yi found Qin Yu and Xiao He. Are you a match for me? Qin Yu smiled and said, No. Shen Yi wasn't ashamed at all. His eyes flashed fiercely as he stared at Qin Yu. You and your eagle, although your strength is not bad, unfortunately. I'm not alone. Ayo. Shen Yi suddenly raised his head and howled. His howl echoed for hundreds of miles. Qin Yu's face changed slightly. Big brother, leave this to me. Let's kill one first. It'll be easier to deal with his brothers later. Xiao Hei's voice sounded in Qin Yu's mind. Xiao Hei had already turned into a stream of light and rushed towards Shen Yi. Shen Yi saw a huge black eagle spreading its wings and flying towards him. He immediately retreated. Xiao Hei's ice-cold claws slashed through the air. Shen Yi's face changed. He used both his hands and feet to dodge in an instant. Ao ao ao. This time, Shen Yi's howl became more urgent. At the same time, his body began to change. Almost in an instant, he was a tough man just now, but now he became a black-winged leopard. A black winged leopard was about the same size as an ordinary leopard. However, this black winged leopard had a blue stripe on its back. The most surprising thing was that there were spikes on its 4 claws. Xiao Hei, do you need so much time to kill a black winged leopard at the early stage of Jin Dan? What did you say last time? You said you were stronger than a golden flame eagle at the same level. A golden flame eagle is much stronger than a black winged leopard. You. Qin Yu laughed and joked. Xiao Hei glanced at Qin Yu angrily. Then he stared at the black winged leopard and said, "Little leopard, I'm sorry. You're going to die soon. Hurry up and enjoy your last moments of life." Hearing this, the black winged leopard was furious. It jumped up and crossed dozens of meters in an instant. Bang! Xiao Hei's eyes flashed. 2 purple lightning bolts shot out from Xiao Hei's eyes and bombarded the black winged leopard, Shan Yi, who had not yet reacted. With a wail, the lightning flashed on the black winged leopard's body and it fell to the ground, twitching. Xiao Hei's wings vibrated. In an instant, they flapped several times at high speed. As if he had teleported, Xiao Hei disappeared. Crack! Xiao Hei's eagle claws cracked the black winged leopard's head. The black winged leopard died immediately. Xiao Hei swallowed the black winged leopard's Jin Dan. Big brother, this black winged leopard still has brothers. You can have their Jin Dan, Xiao Hei said directly through his spiritual sense. Qin Yu smiled. He knew Xiao Hei's good intentions. This Shan Yi was only at the early stage of Jin Dan. No matter how weak his brothers were, they should at least be at the early stage of Jin Dan. Maybe they were even at the middle stage of Jin Dan. Qin Yu thought of the scene where Xiao Hei killed the black winged leopard. He asked doubtfully, "Xiao Hei, since when can your eyes emit lightning?" According to Qin Yu's knowledge, Xiao Hei's body and mouth could emit lightning. But his eyes, the weak eyes, could also emit lightning? Big brother, this is my secret. Eagle eyes are the advantage of the Eagle clan. The lightning emitted from my eagle eyes is faster than the lightning emitted from my mouth. The power is also about the same. Xiao Hei gently flapped his wings and explained to Qin Yu. Qin Yu could not help but sigh in his heart. This Xiao Hei was really too mysterious. At least if Qin Yu and Xiao Hei fought, Qin Yu was not sure that he could defeat Xiao Hei. Xiao Hei's various mysterious attacks were endless. In particular, Xiao Hei once asked Qin Yu for a high-grade crystal stone to refine a tool. But Qin Yu had never seen Xiao Hei use it. "Xiao Hei, you said that his brother's Jin Dan would be given to me? Don't regret it?" Qin Yu suddenly said with a smile. Xiao Hei shook his head and said, "Why would I regret it, I?" Halfway through his words, Xiao Hei was speechless. 2 black winged leopards, and they are. Xiao Hei became serious at this moment. He was not as relaxed as before. Qin Yu nodded and looked towards the northwest. Yes, the 2 black winged leopards are both at the late stage of Jin Dan. In terms of speed, they might be faster than me. A kid at the early stage of Jin Dan actually has 2 brothers. Moreover, they are both black winged leopards at the late stage of Jin Dan. Big brother, things seem to be a bit troublesome. They are at the late stage of Jin Dan. Moreover, there are 2 of them, and they are extremely fast black winged leopards. This is the most powerful enemy we have encountered in a long time. Xiao Hei said. The golden flame eagle they had encountered before was even more powerful. However, it was only at the yuanying stage. Qin Yu and Xiao Hei did not even have the thought of making an enemy out of it. However, these 2 black winged leopards, Qin Yu and Xiao Hei treated them as opponents. Third brother. 2 large men who were almost identical to Shan Yi appeared beside Shen Yi's corpse. They were wrapped in animal skin. These 2 large men's bodies were almost perfect. Just from their physiques, it could be seen that they excelled in speed. The strength in their muscles could also be seen. "I am Shen Bao." The large man with blue eyebrows stared at Qin Yu and Xiao Hei and said, "I am Shen Yu." The other large man also said, "You killed my 3rd brother. Prepare to be buried with him." The large man with blue eyebrows standing on the left said coldly, These two Jin Dan stage Black-Winged Leopard clan experts emitted an astonishing aura. As two late-stage Jin Dan experts, the death of their younger brother had already caused these two Black-Winged Leopard clan experts to go crazy with anger. Within their territory of 3,000 li, no one dared to bully their younger brother. This third brother's strength was only at the early stage of Jin Dan. However, under the protection of these two late-stage Jin Dan brothers, no one dared to bully him. These two brothers, Shan Bao and Shen Yu, treated their third brother as a treasure. They would absolutely not allow anyone to bully him. However, their third brother was now dead. Shan Bao and Shen Yu continued to accumulate their strength. Both of them were ready to explode. Xiao He, on our journey here, we have yet to truly have a great battle to our heart's content, said Qin Yu via voice transmission. Xiao He's eagle eyes also flashed with an intense desire to battle. Big brother, that golden flame eagle was ridiculously strong. As for the other demonic beasts, the strongest one was only at the middle stage of Jin Dan. Moreover, it was an ordinary demonic beast. If they weren't too strong, then they were too weak. They couldn't unleash their true combat strength. Now that we've met these two late-stage Jin Dan stage Black-Winged Leopards, we can have a good battle. Qin Yu felt his blood boiling again. It was the same feeling as when he broke through his physical limits during his limit training when he was young. The one on the left is mine. The one on the right is yours, said Qin Yu via voice transmission. Shen Bao's eyes seemed to burst with lightning. He suddenly roared, "Kill!" On one side, Shen Yu's aura suddenly becomes fierce as well. As Black-Winged Leopard demonic beasts, the two brothers have reached their maximum speed. Two black thunderbolts charge at Qin Yu and Xiao He extremely fast. Kill! Qin Yu and Xiao He's aura also rose to the peak. With a loud roar and an eagle's cry, the two of them also exploded with their strongest combat strength. They turned into two lightning bolts and rushed towards each other. Chapter 84. Shen Bao and Qin Yu transformed into two black blurs, rapidly exchanging blows with each other. Bang! 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 Every time they exchanged blows, there would be earth-shattering sounds. The two of them would sometimes fly into the air, sometimes on the ground. As the blurs passed by, the giant trees in the forest would fall down one by one. Ha! Qin Yu threw a straight punch, piercing through the air, directly aiming for Shen Bao's chest. Shen Bao's eyes flashed, and his entire body flashed easily, producing several blurs for a moment. Qin Yu's fist heavily smashed into the giant tree behind Shen Bao. The giant tree trembled slightly, but it didn't suffer any major damage. Suddenly, bang! Like a bomb exploding, the giant tree, which was tens of meters tall, suddenly turned into countless pieces of wood, as if it had been completely crushed. Each piece of wood was at most the size of a palm. Just like that, the giant tree turned into countless pieces of wood that flew in all directions. Shen Bao's body flashed twice, and he retreated 100 meters. He then stood in the air, staring at Qin Yu. Qin Yu also stared at Shen Bao, motionless. This guy hasn't even transformed into his Black-Winged Panther true form, but his speed is already comparable to mine. Once he transforms into his true form, his speed will increase again. Then I'll really be inferior to him. Qin Yu's aura completely locked onto Shen Bao in front of him. In his mind, however, he was thinking of a way to deal with this Black-Winged Panther. In terms of speed, Qin Yu didn't have the advantage at all, and was even at a disadvantage. Qin Yu's eyes suddenly brightened, and a hint of a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Right, Black-Winged Panther specializes in speed. Although his strength isn't bad, compared to his speed, his strength is insignificant. But my strength, combined with the power of the stars, surpasses his strength. Shen Bao glanced at the completely shattered wood, and said with a cold smile, "You really do have some strength. No wonder you were able to kill my third brother. However, with just this strength, you're not my match." Shen Bao said this, but in reality, he was shocked by the power of Qin Yu's punch. If Qin Yu's punch had landed on Shen Bao's body, even if Shen Bao didn't die, he would be seriously injured. Don't boast. Let's see who's stronger. Qin Yu could guess what the other party was thinking. Clearly, this Shen Bao had also discovered the strength of Qin Yu. Since that was the case, he had to play to his strengths and avoid his weaknesses. Qin Yu once again shot towards Shen Bao like a sharp arrow. At first glance, Qin Yu seemed to be following a straight trajectory, but if one looked closely, one could see that when Qin Yu was flying, his body was very relaxed and naturally floating slightly. There wasn't the slightest sound of wind as he flew. Almost in an instant, Qin Yu appeared in front of Shen Bao. Wind? Can you compare with us black wind leopards in terms of controlling the wind? As Shen Bao spoke, his body easily swayed and dodged Qin Yu's attack. Shen Bao's movement also made no sound. What? Qin Yu's expression changed. This Shen Bao was actually able to move with the wind just like him. He wasn't affected by the wind at all. Suddenly, a sharp and resounding eagle cry resounded through the sky. What's wrong with Xiao He? Qin Yu's figure rapidly retreated. At the same time, the range of his spiritual sense was extremely wide. He could clearly see the battle between Xiao He and Shen Yu. At this moment, Shen Bao had also stopped fighting. He had also noticed the situation of his second brother. Ayo! Shan Yu had transformed into a black winged leopard. The green stripes on his back were even faintly glowing. At this moment, Shen Yu's fur was standing up. His leopard eyes were fixed on Xiao He. He was constantly growling, but he didn't attack. Huff huff! Xiao He spread out his huge wings. His black feathers were like cold steel, shining with a cold light. At the same time, his feathers flickered with lightning. At the same time, flames rose from Xiao He's body. His powerful aura shocked everyone. The black-winged leopard was constantly growling. Its fur was standing up and trembling. Yo! An extremely ear-piercing sound came from Xiao He's mouth. It directly irritated everyone's ears. Even Qin Yu felt his heart tremble. When he saw this scene, he knew that Xiao He had completely gone crazy. Xiao He's wings flapped, and he actually soared into the sky. Suddenly, bolts of lightning shot out from Xiao He's body. For a moment, Xiao He was like the incarnation of a thunder god. Countless bolts of lightning shot out from Xiao He's body and directly bombarded the black-winged leopard below. That black-winged leopard was moving extremely fast. However, the lightning was too fast, and there were too many of them. The bolts of lightning bombarded the black-winged leopard. The black-winged leopard howled. Then, it suddenly jumped and soared into the sky. Xiao He opened his mouth, and a huge ball of thunderfire rushed out. In the center of that ball of thunderfire was a ball of lightning. This ball of lightning contained a frightening amount of electricity. Outside the ball of lightning was a burning flame. The strangest thing was that this lightning and flame seemed to be one. God, how strong is this ball of energy? If I'm hit, even I'll be seriously injured. Qin Yu was shocked. At the same time, he felt that this Xiao He was even more unfathomable. This Xiao He is too powerful. That ball of thunderfire blasted towards the black-winged leopard. The black-winged leopard's body suddenly turned illusory, and it easily dodged the thunderfire. Then, it bit towards Xiao He. Bang! That ball of thunderfire that was dodged seemed to be controlled by a remote control. It suddenly turned and bombarded the black-winged leopard. An extremely strong vibration sounded, and at the same time, a mournful wail sounded. Qin Yu smelled the smell of burnt fur. Second brother. Shen Bao saw that Shan Yu was seriously injured, and he immediately became anxious. His figure directly rushed towards Xiao He. In the process of flying, he actually turned into a black-winged leopard. Suddenly, Xiao He's voice sounded in Qin Yu's mind. Big brother, quickly stop him. I have used up more than half of my energy. Not good. At this moment, Qin Yu realized that Xiao He's frightening ball of thunderfire wasn't without a price. At this moment, Qin Yu couldn't care about anything else. The illusory light silver star power instantly filled Qin Yu's surroundings, forming a nebula and rapidly rotating. In an instant, Qin Yu seemed to be completely connected with the heavens and the earth. Qin Yu's speed suddenly increased. "You're courting death." Qin Yu's eyes emitted a ferocious light. "Oh!" The black winged leopard that Shen Bao had transformed into howled, and immediately attacked Xiao He. Before Shen Bao attacked, Xiao He flapped his wings and rushed towards Qin Yu. That black winged leopard turned illusory, and continued to attack Xiao He. "Big brother, I'll leave it to you." Xiao He's voice sounded in Qin Yu's mind. A faint smile appeared on Qin Yu's face. When Master had just reached the Dujie stage, he was already able to kill Deshang stage experts, several loose immortals, and dozens of Dujie stage and Kongming stage experts. As his disciple, if I can't even kill a late Jin Dan stage demon beast, I might as well commit suicide. The star power filled Qin Yu's surroundings. The area where it spread out was the area where Qin Yu's attacks were the strongest. Within this area, Qin Yu's speed was even faster. "Oh!" The black-winged leopard bared its teeth and bit at Qin Yu. At the same time, its claws also clawed at Qin Yu. Wearing the flaming gloves, Qin Yu's hands also turned into claws to meet the black-winged leopard's claws head-on. "Idiot!" Qin Yu brazenly grabbed the leopard's claws with his right hand. His star power and powerful physical strength burst out. With a kacha sound of bones breaking, one of Shen Bao's claws has been directly destroyed by Qin Yu. Shen Bao became anxious. "Oh!" It suddenly howled crazily. Suddenly, the bone spurs on its 4 sharp claws shot out like sharp arrows. Qin Yu didn't expect that the bone spurs on the black-winged leopard's claws could be used to attack outside of its body. Not good. Qin Yu's expression changed greatly. He grabbed the black-winged leopard's sharp claws with one hand. At this moment, it could be said that he was very close to the black-winged leopard. The man and the beast were too close. Even if Qin Yu discovered it, he wouldn't be able to dodge in time. Pooh! Pooh! The star power in Qin Yu's body completely exploded. His entire body shot to the side like a sharp arrow. Even though he dodged quickly, 2 bone spurs still pierced Qin Yu's body. One pierced Qin Yu's left arm, and the other pierced between Qin Yu's sternum. Pooh! Qin Yu spat out a mouthful of blood. Although his physical body was as strong as a spirit weapon, the black-winged leopard's final attack, the bone spurs, were too powerful. The black-winged leopard's bone spurs were naturally produced by its body. Once they were broken, it would take decades or even centuries for them to grow again. The black-winged leopard suddenly changed from a leopard's appearance to a human's. Shen Bao stared fiercely at Qin Yu. "You broke one of my claws and forced me to shoot out 4 bone spurs. If I don't kill you and devour your Jin Dan, how can I let go of the hatred in my heart?" Shen Bao also had no other choice. One of his claws was broken. Even if he maintained his black-winged leopard form, he would not be able to maintain the same speed as before. Qin Yu suddenly pulled out the bone spurs that pierced between his sternum and his left arm. Fortunately, his physical body was strong enough. The bone spurs did not pierce too deeply. If the bone spurs pierced a little deeper, they would have pierced into the vital organs of his body. Qin Yu immediately hit his acupoints and stopped the flow of blood. "Big brother." Xiao Hei's voice sounded. Qin Yu stretched out his hand to stop him. "Don't worry about me. Damn it. If I don't kill this bastard, my cultivation would have been in vain. Fight." Qin Yu's eyes were faintly red. His entire body emitted a crazy and fierce aura, as if he was a lone wolf that was even crazier after being injured. Feeling Lu Xing's tears flowing into his wound, Qin Yu could not help but sneer. "Shen Bao, right?" Qin Yu's eyes were fixed on Shen Bao. At this moment, the wound on Qin Yu's left arm was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Generally, as long as it was not a vital injury, Lu Xing's tears would heal very quickly. "I'll let you experience the power of the astral domain." The light silver astral energy on the surface of Qin Yu's body started to spin rapidly. At the same time, the nebula in Qin Yu's dantian also started to spin rapidly. Each of the silver particles emitted a brilliance. The astral energy reached its peak in an instant, filling every part of Qin Yu's body. What? Shen Bao did not understand the meaning of Qin Yu's words. Qin Yu had already rushed over. Shen Bao looked at Qin Yu with a sneer. Just now, he saw that Qin Yu's chest was pierced by the bone spurs. Obviously, he was seriously injured. Die! Qin Yu suddenly roared. In an instant, Qin Yu's entire body turned into 6 or 7 phantoms. Within the nebula vortex formed by the light silver astral energy, 6 or 7 Qin Yu appeared around Shen Bao. Sometimes, one hand turned into an iron fist. Sometimes, it turned into a palm blade. Sometimes, it turned into a steel claw. Sometimes, it turned into a finger sword. Bang! The fist and finger sword seemed to travel through time and directly hit Shen Bao's chest. Suddenly, an explosion sounded and a hole appeared. Pooh! The finger sword pierced Shen Bao's right palm. Gotcha! The steel claw broke Shen Bao's spine. Oh! Their figures became one. Qin Yu stared at Shen Bao as if he had never moved. Shen Bao stared at Qin Yu with his eyes wide open. What kind of speed is this? Shen Bao was proud of his speed, but under Qin Yu's attack, he could not resist at all. Dying under the astral domain, you should be proud. Qin Yu did not even look at Shen Bao. With a burst of cracking sounds, all the bones in Shen Bao's body were shattered. He immediately fell to the ground, paralyzed. Then, he started to twitch uncontrollably. Blood flowed from his 7 orifices. His mouth was still mumbling, "Astral domain." Then, there was no sound. As for that Shen Yu, he was already killed by Xiao He. Qin Yu's face suddenly turned red. As if his body was rebelling, a mouthful of blood rushed from his body to his throat. Qin Yu could not control it at all and directly spat it out. Then he sat down cross-legged. "Big brother." Xiao He flapped his wings and rushed to Qin Yu's side. "It's okay. I can only be considered to be in the early stage of the nebula realm. It's still not enough to use the astral domain. Let me rest for an hour and it should be enough." After Qin Yu finished using his spiritual sense, he quietly adjusted the chaotic energy in his body. The astral domain was an advanced technique after the Transheaven 3 diagrams reached its peak. When the Transheaven 3 diagram's tricolored armor wrapped around Qin Yu's speed increased by several times. The astral domain was the same. It was just that its power was greater and its speed was faster. An hour later. "Big brother, 2 Jin Dan." Xiao He placed the 2 Jin Dan in front of Qin Yu. Qin Yu opened his eyes and directly took one of the Jin Dan. Then he said, "Xiao He, the energy of a late-stage Jin Dan is 8 to 9 times that of an early-stage Jin Dan. I'll take one and you take one." Xiao He looked at the remaining one and immediately said with his spiritual sense, "Big brother, I've already eaten that Shen Yi's Jin Dan. I said that the rest was for you. I've only refined one." Compared to a late-stage Jin Dan, a Jin Dan at the early stage of the Jin Dan can be ignored. If you don't want it, just throw it away. After Qin Yu finished speaking, he directly began to refine the Jin Dan, not paying any attention to Xiao He. Xiao He's eagle eyes stared at Qin Yu for a long time. Then he took the Jin Dan. Chapter 85. Inside the secret place that a man and an eagle were looking for. Qin Yu was sitting cross-legged, quietly refining. This Jin Dan of the late Jin Dan stage had a huge amount of energy, even more than the energy contained in Qin Yu's body. Fortunately, Qin Yu did not directly devour it like ordinary demonic beasts. Instead, he used the star real fire to refine the Jin Dan, and finally only absorbed the pure essence of the Jin Dan. Inside Qin Yu's dantian, the star real fire was constantly burning the energy of the Jin Dan to the extreme, and then the remaining essence was directly devoured by the spinning nebula inside Qin Yu's dantian, and then absorbed by the layers of silver particles in the nebula vortex. Time passed day by day, and the silver particles in the nebula vortex inside Qin Yu's body started to grow a lot bigger. Suddenly, like a stone breaking, the silver particles actually split into 2 halves, and then the silver particles split one after another. In just a short while, the layers of silver particles in the nebula vortex inside Qin Yu's body were all broken into two halves. Suddenly, the number of silver particles in the nebula inside his dantian doubled, and the density of the silver particles in each layer of the silver vortex also doubled. Middle nebula stage. Qin Yu's heart was filled with ecstasy. He had finally reached the middle nebula stage. After successfully cultivating in Lei Mountain House, he had stepped into the early nebula stage. However, to step from the early nebula stage to the middle nebula stage, it would take at least a few decades to 100 years to cultivate. However, along the way, Qin Yu had fought many demonic beasts, killed many Jin Dan stage demonic beasts, and absorbed a lot of Jin Dan essence. Now, he had also devoured the essence of a Jin Dan that had reached the late Jin Dan stage. Suddenly, he broke through the early nebula stage and reached the middle nebula stage. The nebula vortex inside Qin Yu's body was densely packed with silver particles, forming circles. However, Qin Yu continued to refine the essence of the Jin Dan, constantly absorbing it. After an unknown period of time, Qin Yu finally opened his eyes. Xiao He has also reached the middle stage of Jin Dan. When Qin Yu saw that Xiao He was still refining the Jin Dan, he was not in a hurry. He sat down cross-legged and waited quietly. The more powerful a demonic beast was, the slower it would be for it to level up. But at the same time, their strength could not be judged from their appearance alone. When Xiao He fought with Shen Yu, he was only at the early stage of Jin Dan, but he relied on his unique skill, Thunder Fire Attack, to directly defeat the late-stage Jin Dan Black Wind Leopard. Xiao He, who had inherited memories, was indeed very powerful. Big brother. Xiao He woke up as well, and the voice transmitted into Qin Yu's mind was filled with excitement. Qin Yu's and Xiao He's improvements were also very similar. Now, they had almost made a step forward. Xiao He, let's go. Let's continue on our way. I don't know what kind of demonic beasts are waiting for us ahead. Qin Yu and Xiao He left this place of practice straight away and started their journey again. Practicing in the wilderness is indeed much faster than on the Qianlong continent. However, the wilderness is also very dangerous. For example, if Wu De and Wu Xing encounter these two late-stage Jin Dan Black Wind Leopards, they will probably be finished. Moreover, there are demonic beasts in the wilderness that are even more formidable than Black Wind Leopards. In the Weiyang Palace of the Imperial Palace in Bachu County's capital, Master, everything is going according to your plan. This time the 200,000 cavalrymen of the Xiong clan carried out more than 10 attacks and various troops coordinated and assisted. Now we've already taken down 3 cities in Lei Shui County. Mr. Lon says respectfully from outside the bead curtain. Behind the bead curtain, a vague figure is sitting with legs crossed on a jade bed that is glittering with specks of colored light. Very good. From now on, we have to do things step by step. We can't bite off more than we can chew. How's the plan for the 2 northern region counties going? The voice of the great ancestor comes out. It seems to be very calm. Mr. Lon says respectfully, Master, now we've already found a disciple of the Shangguan clan's side branch. This brat is already completely under our command. The next step is to kill that Zhuang Jun, the great ancestor says indifferently, then stops talking. Suddenly, a green figure rushes in extremely fast from outside and shouts loudly at the same time, Master, something bad has happened. Master, something bad has happened. Like Mr. Lon, this green-clad middle-aged man is also a disciple of the great ancestor. Don't be so flustered. What a scandal. An ice-cold reprimand comes out from behind the bead curtain. The green-clad middle-aged man stops at once, then says hurriedly, Master, something bad has happened. Shangke County has been breached. Shangke County has been breached. Bang! A terrifying blast of energy surges out from behind the bead curtain. All the beads on the bead curtain break and fly out. The body of a black-haired old man with fluttering long hair does not move, but he has already flown out of the room. Endless Palace is plunged into a huge depression. The great ancestor's eyes seem to glitter with cold stars as he stares at the green-clad middle-aged man. Drops of cold sweat continuously seep out from the green-clad middle-aged man's forehead. Say it again. The green-clad middle-aged man says hurriedly in terror, Great Ancestor, I've just received news that Xiangke County has been breached. Several 100,000 Qin troops have completely charged into Xiangke County from the south. The defending troops in Xiangke County are simply unable to stop them at all. The Great Ancestor's anger starts to gather. The entire air seems to vibrate. What is the Mu clan doing? The Great Ancestor shouts coldly. The southern part of Xiangke County is right next to the 3 southern region counties of the Mu clan. Therefore, there are only 30,000 defending troops in the southern part of Xiangke County, which is almost unguarded. Who could have thought that such a big mistake would occur in this seemingly safest place? The Mu clan. The Mu clan has switched sides to the Qin clan. The green-clad middle-aged man says at once. The Great Ancestor's entire body shakes. His expression changes several times in the blink of an eye. Afterwards, a faint smile appears on his face. Ha! The Qin clan, what a Qin clan. My Xiong clan and the Shangguan clan pretended to side with the Qin clan. The Qin clan even used the Mu clan to pretend to side with my Xiong clan. The Great Ancestor understands almost completely in an instant. The most loyal Mu clan has unexpectedly become completely loyal to the Qin clan at an unknown time. At the most important time for the Xiong clan, it suddenly rebelled and even breached Xiangke County in one fell swoop, entering its hinterland. In the past, the Mu clan, together with the Xiong clan, occupied 6 counties of the Chu kingdom and had half of its military power. Even so, they were still able to fight against the Qin clan. Now the Mu clan has suddenly switched sides and at the same time breached Xiangke County's main defensive gate. Therefore, the Xiong clan is in an absolutely disadvantageous position. The Xiong clan simply does not know how many troops of the Qin clan are currently in Xiangke County. This time, 300,000 soldiers of the Blackwater Army and 300,000 soldiers of the 3 southern region counties have invaded Xiangke County. A total of 600,000 soldiers. The 600,000 soldiers sweep through everything in their way like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Cities along the way either surrender or are breached rapidly. At the same time, the 300,000 soldiers of the Qin clan in the 2 northern region counties plus the 300,000 soldiers of the original 400,000 soldiers of the 2 northern region counties also begin to attack Zhanyang County. Ha! The Qin clan, what a Qin clan. I admire you, but you forced me, Xiangyang, to use my last card. The Great Ancestor laughs loudly, then waves his sleeve. His robe flutters. His whole body soars directly into the sky from distant End Palace. Mr. Lon and the green-clad middle-aged man exchange a look. Master, could it be you want to use absolute force? The green-clad middle-aged man says in shock. Mr. Lon watches the Great Ancestor's disappearing silhouette and slowly nods. In this situation, relying on the Xiong clan's army is basically hopeless. We can only rely on Master's astonishing power. It's been nearly 1,000 years. I wonder what level Master has reached. I'm really looking forward to it. Mr. Lan's eyes glitter with fervent light. If Master gets into action, then... The green-clad middle-aged man's eyes are also full of expectation. Standing in midair, the Great Ancestor, who is dressed in a black robe, shouts indifferently towards the ground below, Wu De, your old friend has come. Why don't you meet him? The door of the room below is pushed open. Dressed in black, Wu De raises his head to look at the sky. Afterwards, his body transforms into Lu Xing and soars directly into the sky. He then flies to the Great Ancestor's face and watches him carefully several times, then says with a sigh, Brother Xiangyang, we've known each other for nearly 1,000 years. At that time you were only at the peak of the Xiantian stage, but I was already at the early Jin Dan stage. But now I've reached the limit of the late Jin Dan stage while you've already reached the Yuanying stage. Xiangyang is the son of Xiang Yu, the overlord of Western Chu. When Xiang Yu died in battle, Xiangyang established the Chu kingdom. Then, he became the first emperor of the Chu kingdom. During his reign, He managed the Chu kingdom well and became the first country among the 3 countries on the Qianlong continent. In terms of potential in martial arts, Xiang Yang is even more formidable than his father Xiang Yu. While governing the country, he also cultivates. Afterwards, like his father Xiang Yu, he entered the Jin Dan stage. Afterwards, he abdicated and began to meditate in the Weiyang Palace. After so many years, Xiang Yang has already reached the early Yuanying stage. In the eyes of the Xiang clan's descendants, Xiang Yang, the first emperor of the prosperous Chu kingdom, is actually superior to his father Xiang Yu, the overlord of Western Chu. On the path of cultivation, everyone has their own opportunities. Brother Wu De, maybe you'll be able to break through the limit of the Jin Dan stage and reach the Yuanying stage one day. After this is over, I'll give you some of my experience in reaching the Yuanying stage. Is that okay? Xiang Yang says with a smile. Wu De's eyes brighten. For Zionist, breaking through from the Jin Dan stage to the Yuanying stage also requires comprehension. It is even more difficult to break through from the Yuanying stage to the Dongshu stage. Without the guidance of a senior, it will be very difficult for a Zionist to break through on his own. Since Wu De has left the school to cultivate on his own, it will be very difficult for him to break through. If he has Xiang Yang's guidance, it will naturally be very easy. Oh, thank you, Brother Xiang Yang. What do you need, Brother Xiang Yang? If I can help you, please don't hesitate to tell me. Wu De also knows that Xiang Yang will not give him benefits for no reason. Moreover, Xiang Yang is much stronger than him, so he cannot refuse. Xiang Yang nods slightly. At the same time, he turns his head and looks to the east. His eyes glitter with coldness and his body starts to give off cold air. Wu De is secretly alarmed. What does this freak want to do? His killing intent is too strong. Come with me to the east. I want to have a good talk with that Qin De. I heard that Qin De has just entered the early Jin Dan stage. An early Jin Dan stage and a middle Jin Dan stage Fenjiuzi. Humph. Xiang Yang's tone has a sense of condescension. Early Yuanying stage experts and early Jin Dan stage experts are not at the same level at all. Naturally, they are very disdainful. Since Brother Xiang Yang has a request, of course I'm willing to go with you, Brother Xiang Yang. Wu De says with a smile. Isn't it just Qin De and Fenjiuzi? If he goes with Xiang Yang, why would he be afraid of 2 little Jin Dan stage Zionists? Xiang Yang nods slightly to Wu De. Then let's go. Afterwards, Xiang Yang and Wu De immediately fly towards the east at an extremely fast speed. Their black robes flutter in the wind while their blue robes flutter in the wind. The 2 super experts directly rush towards the east. In the wilderness, Qin Yu and Xiao He are shuttling through the wilderness at an extremely fast speed. Along the way, many of the weaker demon beasts simply do not dare to approach Qin Yu and Xiao He. On the way, they have encountered a late Jin Dan stage Violent-Eyed Bear and a late Jin Dan stage Crimson Bloodwolf. They were easily dealt with by Qin Yu and Xiao He. After resting for a night, Qin Yu and Xiao He continue their journey. Xiao He, this grassland is so big. Qin Yu suddenly stops and looks ahead. A huge grassland appears in front of Qin Yu. He has never seen such a huge grassland. He can't see the end of it at a glance. Xiao He is also surprised. Big brother, don't worry about it. Let's continue our journey. Xiao He says to Qin Yu. Qin Yu nods his head. Let's go. The 2 immediately shuttled through the grassland at an extremely fast speed. Although they are on the grassland, Qin Yu and Xiao He are actually flying. They are only about half a meter above the ground. There are some places in the grassland where weeds are very tall. It feels very good to pass through the weeds at an extremely fast speed. The strength of the demon beasts on this grassland is not bad. Qin Yu's spiritual sense completely covers tens of kilometers. They are just so. After so long, we have only found 1 early Jin Dan stage demon beast. Before it could even get close to us, it fled far away. Xiao He says. Obviously, Xiao He is very disdainful of ordinary demon beasts. The longer they fly, Qin Yu and Xiao Hei are increasingly amazed by the vastness of this grassland. This grassland is at least several thousand kilometers long. Qin Yu and Xiao Hei have not flown directly without any worries for a long time. Flying several thousand kilometers in one breath is indeed a good feeling. Suddenly, Qin Yu's face changes color. He says through the use of the sound transmission, "Xiao Hei, it is a bit strange. There are no demon beasts within tens of kilometers in front of us." Qin Yu suddenly stops. Xiao Hei also stops. "Big brother, I have a bad feeling." Xiao Hei also finds that there are no demon beasts in front of them. There are not even any ordinary beasts. This is really too strange. There are no demon beasts in such a lush grassland. Qin Yu frowns and says, "There are only about 10,000 kilometers left before we leave the untainted land. If we want to go back, we can't see the end of this grassland. Who knows how many detours we have to take? What's more, this is not the depths of the untainted land. There shouldn't be any powerful demon beasts. What are you worried about?" "Yes, what are you worried about? We have even encountered a Yuanying stage golden flame eagle. What are you afraid of?" Xiao Hei's innate arrogance makes Xiao Hei not care about the danger at all. "Okay, let's go." Qin Yu and Xiao Hei stick close to the grassland again and travel through the grassland where there are no demon beasts. Chapter 86. In this vast grassland, there was unexpectedly not a single demonic beast. There was an oppressive feeling in the air. The deeper they went into the grassland, the more careful Qin Yu and Xiao Hei became. Their spiritual senses were completely spread out. The man and the eagle both felt an invisible danger. "Xiao Hei, there's a hill in the distance." Qin Yu stared several thousand meters away, but felt that this hill was a bit strange. The prairie is vast and boundless. Most of them are small lakes, weeds, and so on. However, a small hill has suddenly appeared in front of them, so Qin Yu, who is already very nervous, naturally becomes cautious. Xiao Hei's eyes also focus. He then says through his holy sense, "Big brother, let's go around that hill." Even the proud and aloof Xiao Hei was very careful at this moment. "Okay, let's go around it." Qin Yu and Xiao Hei could not help but speed up. They flew around the hill in the distance towards the west. The hill was dark red in color. The rocks on the hill were very regular. When Qin Yu and Xiao Hei were halfway there, suddenly, human, Xiao Hei, eagle. A spiritual sense transmission sounded in Qin Yu and Xiao Hei's minds. "Xiao Hei, let's go." Qin Yu simply did not care about anything else. He immediately urged Xiao Hei with his spiritual sense. At the same time, he also began to fly at top speed. Qin Yu had already guessed that this strange grassland definitely had a very powerful demonic beast. A demonic beast that even his spiritual sense could not detect. "Want to go?" Suddenly, an astonishing aura radiated from the distance, completely oppressing Qin Yu and Xiao Hei. This aura was much stronger than the pressure of the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation. Qin Yu and Xiao Hei could only feel their hearts beating dong-dong in their ears. "Big brother, what a terrifying aura." Xiao Hei could not help but turn his head to look at the source of the aura. Qin Yu also turned his head to look. They only saw a huge dark cloud covering the sky. Then, this huge dark cloud flashed and landed in front of Qin Yu and Xiao Hei. The speed was so fast that Qin Yu and Xiao Hei were simply dumbfounded. Obviously, this monster was faster than them. "Human, Xiao Hei, eagle, you still want to run away from me?" The voice of the monster in front of them sounded in Qin Yu and Xiao Hei's minds. Qin Yu looked at the monster in front of him and couldn't help sucking in a breath of cold air. The monster's entire body was dark red. It was over 100 meters long and tens of meters tall. Its entire body was covered in dark red rock-like armor. The monster had 6 thick and sharp spikes on its neck and a golden horn on its forehead. Divine beast. Dragon Rocky. Qin Yu felt a burst of dryness in his throat. In the study of Lei Mountain House, he had seen many demonic beasts introduced in some secret books. This dragon Rocky was huge. Legend had it that it was the offspring of the divine dragon and the divine fiery rocky lion. Divine beast. Demonic beasts were also divided into many levels. The highest level was the divine beast. The strength of a divine beast could not be judged from its stage. A Yuanying stage divine beast was even more powerful than a Dongshu stage Zionist. In the eyes of Zionists, a divine beast was a synonym for strength. In the Daishang stage, a divine beast that had survived the ninefold heavenly tribulation could fight against 10 Daishang stage self-cultivators. The gap was really too big. Big brother, what a powerful aura. Even a Yuanying stage golden flame eagle could not make me feel so uncomfortable. Xiao Hei also felt great pressure at the moment. Xiao Hei and Qin Yu simply do not continue to fly extremely fast. Just now they have already seen this dragon Rocky Lion speed, which is even more than twice as fast as Qin Yu in his fastest state. They simply do not have any hope. The dragon Rocky Lion stared at Qin Yu and Xiao Hei for a while. Then it said with a smile through its holy sense, "You dare to enter my forbidden area. It seems that you are also outsiders and don't know the rules here." Qin Yu knew that a divine beast's intelligence was no less than that of human beings. He immediately said respectfully, "I'm Qin Yu. My second brother Kuro and I are going back to the Qianlong continent. We have never been to this prairie before, so we don't know the rules. Senior, I hope you can let us go." Qin Yu knew that people under the eaves had to lower their heads. "Senior, may I ask what stage you've reached? I feel that you're much more powerful than that Yuanying stage golden flame eagle." Xiao Hei did not know what was going on, but he unexpectedly asked the dragon Rocky Lion this question at this time. The dragon Rocky Lion stared at Xiao Hei for a while and unexpectedly answered, "Yuanying stage golden flame eagle? Is that the yellow-haired eagle 70,000 li to the east? Although I'm also in the Yuanying stage like him, I can easily deal with 10 little birds like the golden flame eagle." The dragon Rocky Lion exuded a powerful aura. It then looked at Xiao Hei and said with special interest, "Xiao Hei Eagle, you seem to have an aura that attracts me. I feel that eating you should be very good for me." Qin Yu and Xiao Hei were immediately shocked. Just now, they saw that the dragon Rocky Lion was easy to talk to, so they had some hope in their hearts. But now the dragon Rocky Lion unexpectedly said this. "Xiao Hei Eagle, you seem to have some feelings for this human. If you agree to let me eat him, I'll let him go. Eating a human is not good for me at all, so I don't feel like eating him. Do you think my plan is good or not? Actually, I don't like to force other demonic beasts. But, if you resist, I'll have to eat both of you." The dragon Rocky Lion's voice rose in Qin Yu and Xiao Hei's minds. Xiao Hei felt the dragon Rocky Lion's aura, which was 10 times more terrifying than that of the golden flame eagle, so he knew that he was no match for it. Even a Dongshu stage Zionist might not be able to defeat this divine beast dragon Rocky Lion in the Yuanying stage, let alone Qin Yu and Xiao Hei. Xiao Hei looked at Qin Yu. His eagle eyes exuded complex emotions, which Qin Yu could clearly feel. "Big brother. Xiao Hei, don't think too much." Qin Yu's cold voice rose in Xiao Hei's mind. "Xiao Hei, if I don't try my best and let you die for me, I'll feel guilty for the rest of my life. What's more, it's not like we don't have a chance to escape." Qin Yu recalled the introduction of the dragon Rocky Lion in the Zionist book. "I've read the introduction of the dragon Rocky Lion. It's a divine beast, extremely powerful and also extremely fast. The defensive power of the dragon Rocky armor is even more outrageous. It's said that its defense is even stronger than that of a dragon. But nothing is perfect. It's because its body is too big and it's not flexible enough. Turning and dodging are its weak points. It's just that it's fast in a straight line." Hearing Qin Yu's words, Xiao Hei also completely understood Qin Yu's meaning. "Big brother." Xiao Hei knew very well that although Qin Yu's words were very reasonable, the dragon Rocky Lion was after all a divine beast. As long as the man and the eagle were a little careless, they would be killed by the dragon Rocky Lion. "Don't talk about it. Even if we have to die, we'll die together." Who cares what kind of divine beast it is? Qin Yu also made up his mind. Qin Yu's blood had the unique arrogance of the Qin clan's descendants, which had been passed down from Qin Shi Huang, Ying Zheng. Generations of the Qin clan's descendants, whether it was Qin De, Qin Feng, Qin Zheng or Qin Yu, were all arrogant people. You two little guys, what are you talking about with each other through holy sense communication? Xiao Hei Eagle, have you made up your mind? The dragon Rocky Lion looks down at the two little guys in front of it. In front of the dragon Rocky Lion, Qin Yu and Xiao Hei are indeed little guys. Senior, I agree. Xiao Hei replies through holy sense communication. As soon as the dragon Rocky Lion hears this, it immediately bursts into loud laughter. Its laughter resounds over hundreds of Li Qin Yu's eyes suddenly brighten. He immediately says through holy sense communication, Xiao Hei, run. Run to the west. Fly flexibly and change your trajectory. Xiao Hei uses the passing lightning flashing 9 times. Its wings continuously vibrate slightly several times and it soars into the sky at an extremely high speed like a zigzag lightning bolt. At the same time, the flaming sword, a high-grade holy weapon, also appears under Qin Yu's feet. The light silver power of the stars completely penetrates between his body and the flaming sword. Qin Yu's body is like a holy weapon, becoming one with the weapon. Stepping on the flying sword, Qin Yu also flies towards the west. A man and an eagle respectively fly out from the two sides of the dragon Rocky Lion. When the dragon Rocky Lion sees the man and the eagle flying away at an extremely high speed, it immediately knows that it has been cheated. It cannot help getting angry and roars towards the sky. The dragon Rocky Lion says through holy sense communication in the minds of the man and the eagle, "You two little guys dare to cheat me. I'm going to eat you both." The dragon Rocky Lion moves its body and directly breaks through the air. It immediately chases after Qin Yu at an extremely fast speed. Whoosh! Qin Yu steps on the flying sword and makes a 90-degree turn at an extremely high speed as if he is surfing on a board. He immediately avoids the attack of the dragon Rocky Lion behind him. The dragon Rocky Lion's body flashes and changes its direction again, chasing after Qin Yu again. Such a big body but still so flexible. Qin Yu takes a cold breath. I don't know who wrote about the dragon Rocky Lions in that Xiuzhen secret book. How dare they write nonsense? Qin Yu is angry in his heart, but he is not desperate yet. Although the dragon Rocky Lion is flexible, its body is after all too big. In terms of flexibility, it simply cannot be compared with Qin Yu, who has achieved the unity of human and qi. This dragon Rocky Lion's perception of wind is not as good as that of the black wind leopard. Stepping on the flying sword, Qin Yu's whole body is like a falling leaf in a gale, constantly drifting and easily dodging the dragon Rocky Lion's attacks again and again. Suddenly, a flame spurts out from the dragon Rocky Lion's mouth and directly shoots towards Qin Yu. It's over. Big brother. In the distance, Xiao Hei also becomes worried. Qin Yu is frightened. In an instant, his whole attention is completely focused on that flame. There is no need to think about how powerful that dark cyan flame is. The speed of the flame is even faster than that of the dragon Rocky Lion. At the moment of life and death, the light silver star force on the surface of Qin Yu's body suddenly agitates. Star field. In an instant, a huge nebula is formed on the surface of Qin Yu's body. The nebula inside his body also agitates extremely fast. In an instant, Qin Yu's whole body seems to be divided into two. Of course, that is the phenomenon of Qin Yu's extreme speed. In the nick of time, Qin Yu finally dodges. He even feels the terrifying heat emitted by the flame when it brushes past his body. The star field only covers the nebula on the surface of his body. Qin Yu cannot move within a large range. Moreover, the star field needs to agitate all the energy of the nebula inside his body. Fortunately, Qin Yu has already entered the middle stage of the nebula realm. Therefore, using it for a short period of time will not affect him too much. Qin Yu uses the human weapon unification and flies towards the west extremely fast. Xiao Hei also continuously uses the passing lightning flashing 9 times. The man and the eagle are desperately rushing towards the west at an extremely fast speed. They don't dare to slow down. Who knows whether the dragon Rocky Lion will chase after them after the battle? Given the dragon Rocky Lion's power, as long as they are hit, they will definitely die. They have been flying for 6 hours. For 6 whole hours, Qin Yu has been flying at his fastest speed. In the past, he has only used the human weapon unification to fly for a short while and has never flown so desperately. In just 6 hours, Qin Yu and Xiao He suddenly see houses in the distance, as well as a sharp decrease in the untainted land's Reiki. Ha, Xiao He, we're finally back. Qin Yu suddenly wakes up from his extremely fast escape. Obviously, the crazy escape just now has allowed him to directly escape from the untainted land to the Qianlong continent. After several months of traveling through the untainted land, Qin Yu and Xiao He have finally come back alive. Chapter 87. Qin Yu and Xiao He feel relaxed so they do not fight as desperately as before. The two brothers, one man and one eagle, travel through the clouds and mist, heading straight for the princely mansion in Yen City. However, at this moment, two terrifying figures have come to the town of Xiang. With his black robe fluttering, Xiang Yang stands in midair. His eyes overlook the entire town of Xiang as if they can pierce through space. On one side, Wu De's cyan robe flutters in the wind. Xiang Yang basically does not hide his power. With Xiang Yang as the center, his enormous aura spreads out completely, covering the entire town of Xiang. Almost everyone in the town of Xiang can feel that oppressive feeling. In Qin De's residence in the town of Xiang Creek, Qin De pushes open the door of his room and goes straight into the courtyard. He raises his head to look at the sky, a faint calm smile on the corners of his mouth. Oh, Xiang Yang has finally come, Qin De says in a low voice. At the same time, Su Yuan also walks out of his room. He also feels that terrifying, oppressive feeling. As soon as he raises his head, he sees the two people standing in midair. Your Highness, they are. Su Yuan is shocked. Qin De turns to look at Su Yuan and says, Su Yuan, do you still remember the brocade pouch I gave you at that time? In a moment, you'll go back and open it. Follow the steps I laid down in the brocade pouch. Little brat of the Qin clan, quickly come to see me. A thunderous voice shakes the entire town of Xiang. The terrifying power contained in that voice makes all the soldiers in the town of Xiang turn pale. Some of the weaker ones even pass out directly. Remember, go back and open the brocade pouch, Qin De says solemnly to Su Yuan. Su Yuan is also an extremely intelligent person. Seeing Qin De's expression, he can also guess something. But he still says with a nod, Don't worry, Your Highness. I definitely won't let you down. A faint smile appears on Qin De's face. Afterwards, a flying sword appears under his feet. Standing on the flying sword, Qin De soars into the sky. Qin De flies on the flying sword. In a short while, he sees Xiang Yang standing in midair. Xiang Yang's black hair is wantonly fluttering in the wind. His black robe is also fluttering. However, his ice-cold eyes, which seem to be able to see through people's hearts, are the most frightening. Xiang Yang is indeed the most outstanding disciple of the Xiang clan. Qin De, on the contrary, has a feeling of admiration for Xiang Yang in his heart. Back then, the conqueror of Western Chu was extremely overbearing. When he fought for hegemony, he offended many forces. Later on, the hegemon king of Western Chu died and the Xiang clan became the target of public criticism. Fortunately, the young Xiang Yang appeared out of nowhere and befriended those far away and attacked those near. In the end, they split the world with the other two forces. Later on, Xiang Yang managed the Chu dynasty for several decades, making it the most powerful of the three dynasties. Xiang Yang was not only good at governing a country, but it was also rumored that his talent in martial arts was not inferior to his father, Xiang Yu. In the end, he still managed to step into the realm of Jin Dan even though he was distracted from governing the country. Xiang Yu was powerful and domineering, but he was not benevolent enough. And this Xiangyang was almost perfect. He was benevolent, ruthless, honorable, and murderous in the dark. All kinds of methods were at his fingertips. He was definitely a natural emperor. Qin de greets Senior Xiangyang. Qin de slightly folds his hands smilingly and says in a manner that is neither humble nor overbearing. Xiangyang takes a look at Qin de. Just by seeing that Qin de is not nervous in the slightest when meeting him, he can see the gap between him and his grandson Xiangguang. But no matter what, Xiangyang is a member of the Xiang clan. A faint smile appears on the corners of Xiangyang's mouth. Qin de. Xiangyang looks carefully at Qin de, then says smilingly, "You're really something. No wonder you were able to occupy more than half of the Chu dynasty's territory in such a short time. I, Xiangyang, also admire you very much. But I, Xiangyang, am a member of the Xiang clan. You're a smart person, so you should be able to guess why I've come here, right?" Qin de glances at Xiangyang and Wu De. When he sees Wu De, his eyes flash with fierceness. Wu De. He immediately remembers the scene where his son, Qin Yu, and Wu Xing died together. Wu De looks at him with a hint of killing intent in his eyes. He has never forgotten his younger martial brother's death. Xiangyang's voice becomes serious. "Qin De, could it be you didn't hear what I asked?" Qin De looks at Xiangyang and says, "Senior Xiangyang, I really don't know what you've come here with such great fanfare for." He pretends to know nothing. Xiangyang slightly frowns. The cold light in his eyes immediately rises. "Oh, Qin De, you're so smart. You've also guessed it? Then I'll make it clear. Now I want your Qin clan's army to retreat. This way, the 3 eastern region counties will still belong to your Qin clan. Your Qin clan will still be my Xiang clan's vassal. The Xiang clan won't even care about the affairs of the 3 eastern region counties. It can be regarded as a state within a state. What do you think? Retreat? A state within a state." Qin de suddenly bursts into loud laughter. His laughter contains endless ridicule. Hearing Qin de's laughter, Xiangyang's expression does not change. He calmly waits for Qin de's reply. Qin de's expression suddenly freezes. He says to Xiangyang, "Senior Xiangyang, I respect you as a wise monarch of the Chu kingdom, but now you're actually dreaming. Now that my Qin clan has occupied 10 of the 12 counties of the Chu kingdom, do you think I'll retreat? Is that even possible?" Xiangyang's body rises with coldness. "Qin de, could it be you can't see the situation clearly?" "Situation? What situation?" Qin de looks at Xiangyang without backing down. The two of them look at each other, but Qin de is not the slightest bit afraid. "Moreover, you're only a Zionist. Do you think you can compare with 2 million troops?" Instead, Qin de's aura rises. Xiangyang suddenly bursts out laughing, saying, Good Qin de. I just want to tell you that I've already reached the yuanying stage. Even though it's only the early yuanying stage, I believe you should understand what this means. Think about it carefully." "Think about what?" Qin de says without hesitation. Xiangyang's expression changes slightly. Even though his self-cultivation is very good, he is still angry. This Qin de is playing dumb with him. "Even though you've reached the early Jin Dan stage, I can still kill you in a single blow. And that Fenjiuzi or whatever, I can also kill him easily. I can even kill the generals and commanders of your Qin clan one by one. Do you understand what I mean?" Xiangyang says one sentence after another. Qin de, however, still has a faint calm smile on his face. "Senior Xiangyang, Fenjiuzi and I are both Jin Dan stage Zionists, so you can easily find us with your holy sense. But do you know the other generals of my Qin clan? Even if they're right in front of you, you still won't be able to tell whether they're my Qin clan's generals or not." Qin de stares at Xiangyang and says, "When a Zionist uses his holy sense to search for someone, he at least knows that person's aura. Otherwise, how can he be sure whether he's their general or not? In the army, the commander-in-chief's tent is the same as the other soldiers' tents. You simply won't be able to find out who's the general. How can you kill my Qin clan's generals? Qin De stares at Xiang Yang and says word by word. Also, now 600,000 troops from the 2 northern region counties have already attacked Zhenyang County. Of your Xiang clan's 200,000 troops, 100,000 have already surrendered. The other 100,000 are just struggling at death's door. The Blackwater Army and the Mu clan's 600,000 troops have almost occupied the entire Xiangkai County. Qin De tells him the news he has just received. Xiang Yang's face changes color. He already knew that Zhenyang County's 200,000 troops would definitely be unable to resist the enemy's 600,000 troops, but he did not expect 100,000 troops to surrender. But thinking about it, this is also normal. Anyone who is not an idiot will be able to see that the Xiang clan is already on its last legs. It will not be difficult for it to lure the enemy into surrendering by offering them money and power. My Qin clan has 600,000 troops each in Xiangkai County in the south and Zhenyang County in the north. There are even some troops from your Xiang clan that have surrendered. On top of that, there are nearly 400,000 troops in Lei Shui County. Besieged from 3 sides, your Xiang clan only has Ba Chu County. As long as my Qin clan gives the order, we'll definitely be able to attack your Ba Chu County directly within a day regardless of everything else. Qin De says confidently. Besieged from 3 sides, the Xiang clan only has 1 county left, so it has to defend all 3 sides. After the battles in Zhenyang County, Xiangkai County and Lei Shui County, the Xiang clan only has 500,000 to 600,000 troops left. Moreover, if it has to defend all 3 sides, how can such a small number of troops be able to resist? There is basically no need for Qin De to say anything more. Xiang Yang naturally understands the situation. Even though he is a Zionist, if a battle breaks out between 2 million troops, even if he is formidable, how can he possibly stop them? He can kill several people with 1 flying sword. It will take Xiang Yang a very long time to kill just 100,000 troops. Qin De, even now you still don't understand what I mean. Xiang Yang says smilingly. Oh, I'd like to hear the details. Qin De says with an indifferent smile. Xiang Yang says, you're the East Vanquishing Prince, the head of the Qin clan. If I kill you, I believe the Qin clan will definitely fall into chaos. Qin De says smilingly, let me tell you something. I've already made preparations. Once I die, the Qin clan will have a new head. At the same time, the Qin clan's army will attack from 3 sides at all costs and flatten the Xiang clan. Xiang Yang's eyes flash with coldness. Besieged from 3 sides. If 2 million troops really start fighting, no matter how strong Xiang Yang is, he will not be able to stop countless soldiers from killing each other. Even though the soldiers will not be able to kill Xiang Yang will not be able to stop so many soldiers either. After all, there are too many people. The destruction of the Xiang clan is the last thing Xiang Yang wants to see. But, if I can live, I also want to live. Therefore, I can order my troops not to attack Ba Chu County. You must also not harm a single member of the Qin clan. What do you think? If you attack, the armies in Lei Shui County, Xiangkai County and Zhenyang County will directly rush into Ba Chu County from 3 sides. Qin De says smilingly. Xiang Yang stares at him for a long time, then says slowly with a nod, fine. Remember what you said. You must not attack Ba Chu County. Otherwise, I'll destroy your entire Qin clan by myself. Xiang Yang's black robe flutters in the wind. His body immediately pierces through the air and flies away. Wu De gives him a look, then also flies away on his sword. Qin De watches Xiang Yang leave. He frowns deeply. Things have become a bit complicated. I didn't expect this Xiang Yang to have reached the early stage of yuanying. Originally I thought this genius of the Xiang clan would be at most at the late stage of Jindan. If that was the case, I would still have a way to deal with him. But in the early stage of yuanying, even if my Qin clan obtains the world, if Xiang Yang wants to kill, he can also kill my entire clan. In midair, Qin De thinks for a long time but fails to come up with a solution. Xiang Yang has reached the early stage of yuanying, so Qin De's plan cannot be carried out successfully. Qin Yu and Xiao He are traveling back and forth in the clouds. At the moment, Qin Yu's mood is somewhat agitated. Father and the others probably still think I'm dead. When Qin Yu thinks of this, he wants to see his father even more. Suddenly, Qin Yu sees the outline of Yen capital below. He immediately says to Xiao Hei, we've reached the princely mansion. Hurry up. Qin Yu rushes down towards the princely mansion like a beam of light. Xiao Hei also follows Qin Yu. Big brother, I wonder what your father's expression will be like when he sees you. Xiao Hei sends a voice transmission to Qin Yu. Qin Yu can't help but smile. With Qin Yu's speed, he arrives in the sky above the princely mansion. He uses his spiritual awareness to scan the entire princely mansion. Big brother, second brother and father are not here. Qin Yu flies directly into one of the princely mansion. The chief steward of the princely mansion, Chief Steward Li, is taking a leisurely stroll in the princely mansion. The good news from the front line makes Chief Steward Li very relaxed. Ever since Gu Min's death, the original Deputy Chief Steward Li was promoted to Chief Steward and has much more power. Suddenly, an afterimage appears in front of Chief Steward Li. Then, the figure becomes clearer. Chief Steward Li can't help but scream. He is the Chief Steward of the princely mansion. How can ordinary things make him so surprised? But the person in front of him now is the supposedly dead third prince Qin Yu. Third prince? Chief Steward Li's face is full of disbelief. When he was in high school, he grieved for the death of the third prince for a long time. Now, a living person actually appeared in front of him. Qin Yu's smile makes Chief Steward Li believe that this is the third prince of the princely mansion, Qin Yu. Uncle Li, you are now a chief steward. Oh, that's right, where's royal father? Qin Yu asked with a smile. Chief Steward Li's expression changes. He stares at Qin Yu and says, Speak, who are you? Don't think that I don't know that Xiantian masters can change their appearance and bones. His Highness personally saw the death of the third prince. You actually lied to me? Uncle Li, you don't even recognize me. Do you still remember the last time you sent 8 external masters to let me choose my master? Last time, I chose Master Zhao Yunxing. Qin Yu says helplessly. Although Chief Steward Li wants to believe that the person in front of him is Qin Yu, Qin Yu's death was personally witnessed by His Highness. A dead person cannot come back to life. This is a law. Quite a few people know that I sent 8 external masters to the third prince to choose from. It can't prove your identity. Chief Steward Li's expression is solemn. However, he doesn't call for the bodyguards. Instead, he expects Qin Yu to tell him some secrets. Qin Yu shakes his head with a smile and says helplessly, All right. Do you still remember when I was 5 years old, Grandpa Lien was accompanying me and I peed on your face and mouth when I peed? Do you still remember? Chief Steward Li is immediately speechless. Only he and Lien Yen know about that. He has never told anyone about this scandal. Later, when Qin Yu went to Misty Villa, he also didn't tell anyone about it. As for Lien Yen, he wasn't that bored. However, this thing unexpectedly came out of Qin Yu's mouth. Also, when I left the princely mansion for Misty Villa, you gave me a wooden horse that you personally carved. Also, when I was 10 years old, when I came to the princely mansion, you... Qin Yu says smilingly. Chief Steward Li's eyes can't help moistening. Third prince. Chief Steward Li hugs Qin Yu tightly. His tears flow down uncontrollably. Chief Steward Li has watched Qin Yu grow up. In the past, when he was the deputy chief steward of the princely mansion, he has a very deep relationship with Qin Yu. Now Qin Yu has said so many things that only he knows about Qin Yu. Moreover, Qin Yu's smile and Qin Yu's manner are all exactly the same as the third prince in his mind. That's enough, Uncle Li. Qin Yu can also sense his Uncle Li's excitement. Uncle Li, where's my father? Why aren't big brother and second brother in the mansion? Chief Steward Li lets go of Qin Yu and says smilingly at once, His Highness? A few months ago, His Highness started a war against the Xiong clan. He started a war against the Xiong clan? Qin Yu is startled. Chapter 88. A rebellion? How did it happen so fast? What's the current situation like? How did the bandits of the Blackwater Mountain Range get dealt with? Is the Shangguan clan really going to join hands with us? Qin Yu impatiently asks Manager Li. Qin Yu is obviously greatly shocked by his father's actions so early. He simply did not expect that his father would take action so early. In the past, Qin Yu was worried about the Qin clan's plan to unify the entire Chu kingdom. After all, the Xiong clan is too powerful and his own clan is threatened by the bandits. Third Prince, don't worry. Everything has been well prepared for His Highness's rebellion. With a single order, they swept through everything. The army suffered almost no losses. Now, they have already occupied 10 counties of the Chu kingdom. Manager Li says while waving his hand. He still does not know that at the moment Zhanyang County has already been breached. After all, the news does not arrive so quickly. Qin Yu is startled. What? 10 counties? Qin Yu simply cannot imagine how his father dealt with the Mu clan and the Shangguan clan in such a short time. Haha, Third Prince, His Highness is a strategist. There are many things you don't know about. The 300,000 bandits of the Blackwater Mountain Range secretly pledged their loyalty to the Qin clan long ago. As for the Shangguan clan, they wanted to plot against the Qin clan, but His Highness took control of the 2 northern region counties in one fell swoop. As for the 3 southern region counties, I don't know what happened either. I just inexplicably took refuge with His Highness. Qin Yu has more or less understood the course of the war in an instant. The 2 northern region counties? Plot. Qin Yu knows that his father has taken control of the 2 northern region counties, so he can roughly guess some of the plots, such as assassination, framing, and so on. Qin Yu's thick eyebrows frown. His eyes glitter. Uncle Li, where is my father now? And big brother and second brother? At the moment Qin Yu wants to see his relatives the most. After all, they have been separated for such a long time. Moreover, now he presumably can also help them. Manager Li thinks for a while, then says, His Highness is in the town of Xiong, which is close to the Blackwater Mountain Range. His Highness is leading the army in Lei Shui County. Second Prince is in the town of Wuxue, which is next to Xiong. Xiong Town? Qin Yu's eyes lit up. Qin Yu had left Misty Villa at the age of 13 and started to take on assassin missions. He often traveled around the Chu kingdom with Xiao He, so he was very familiar with many cities and even small towns. As soon as the town of Xiong was mentioned, Qin Yu immediately remembered it. In the courtyard of the town of Xiong. Your Highness, if that Xiangyang really wants to kill you, won't Your Highness lose your life? No matter what, Your Highness shouldn't joke around with your own life. Su Yuan said to Qin De with resentment. However, seeing that Qin De was still alive, Su Yuan also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The brocade pouch that Qin De left for him described how to deal with the various affairs of the Qin clan once Qin De died. Seeing the contents of the brocade pouch, Su Yuan knew that something was wrong. Fortunately, Qin De survived and flew down from the sky. Su Yuan, for an early-stage Yuanying expert like me, as a Zionist, it's basically impossible for me to hide. In the mortal world, I, who reached the Jin Dan stage, was like a bright lamp in the dark. He could find me very quickly, Qin De said with an indifferent smile. Su Yuan could also understand what he meant, but he still said, Your Highness, is Xiangyang really that formidable? Even you and Shangxian Fenjiuzi couldn't deal with him? Su Yuan was very intelligent, but unfortunately, he still didn't know anything about the Zionist world. Qin De couldn't help giving a faint bitter smile. Even if Fenjiuzi and I joined hands, we still wouldn't be able to hurt a single hair on Xiangyang's head. Early-stage Yuanying, huh? The difference in power is too big. Qin De was worried in his heart about how to deal with this Xiangyang. If he can't deal with Xiangyang, even if the Qin clan can seize the world, perhaps the furious Xiangyang will still kill all the Qin clan members. I can only have all the troops stop attacking for the time being. If I can't deal with this problem, attacking again will only provoke this terrifying guy Xiangyang. Qin De frowned deeply. Just now when Xiangyang left, he had already ordered the troops to stop attacking. Xiangyang, a super expert of the early stage yuanying. How can I deal with him? Qinda thought hard, but when the difference in power between Xionists is too big, schemes and tricks are useless. Your Highness, did Wuda come just now? A clear voice was heard. Qinda raised his head and saw Fenjiuzi flying directly into the courtyard from a distant place on a flying sword. There was a slightly anxious look in Fenjiuzi's eyes. Wuda. If it was only Wuda, it would have been fine. The ancestor of the Xiang clan, Xiangyang, also came. Qinda shook his head and said smilingly. Fenjiuzi had also heard of Xiangyang's great name. He slightly frowned and said, Xiangyang? He was the first emperor of the Xiang clan. If he was still alive, he would have been practicing for nearly 1,000 years. Perhaps his power is similar to Wu Da's. Similar? If they were only similar, I wouldn't be so distressed. Early stage yuanying. Qinda said directly. Then Xiangyang has reached the early stage of yuanying. What? Heavens! Early stage yuanying? How is this possible? The difference is too big, too big. Fenjiuzi's face changed color completely. This early stage yuanying could deal with 3 or 4 late stage Jin Dan experts. He was only a middle stage Jin Dan expert while Qinda was only at the early stage of Jin Dan. There was simply no comparison. Now that the Xiang clan has such a super expert, won't your plan be ruined? Fenjiuzi knew a lot about Qinda. He did not know anything else, but one thing he knew. Early-stage yuanying experts could not be killed by using human wave tactics, and neither could he be killed by Qinda and him. Qinda gave a frustrated smile. Brother Feng, don't worry so much. Let's play a game of chess first. Generally, when Qinda came across a problem that he could not solve even after racking his brains, he would put it aside and take a rest first before continuing to think. Fenjiuzi also nodded. Then I'll play a game of chess with you, Your Highness. Qinda and Fenjiuzi then sat down and began to play Go with peace of mind. In Qin Feng's house in Lei Shui County, General, His Highness has ordered us to only defend the city and not go out to attack. A messenger told Qin Feng's order openly. Hearing this order, Qin Feng could not help asking in reply, When will we start the war then? The messenger said, His Highness said there is no need to fight for the time being unless he gives another order. Frowning, Qin Feng waved his hand to let the messenger leave. But in his mind, he began to think, doesn't Father want us to stop fighting by giving such an order? Moreover, he doesn't have a clear time limit. We're about to win the war, why does Father? General, does His Highness have any orders? A middle-aged man of about 40 years old walked in. Qin Feng said with a nod, Yes, my father has ordered us to only defend the city and not go out to attack. Moreover, there's no clear time limit. The middle-aged man slightly frowned, but he said nothing. Brother Shiman, I'll leave my 100,000 troops to you for the time being. Remember, you only need to defend the city and never go out to attack. I'm going to see my father in person to see what's going on. Qin Feng was not at ease after receiving this order. He was not worried that something would happen if he left. After all, if the war started again, his father would definitely send someone to give him an order. At that time, he would be in the town of Xiang, so he would naturally receive the order. Your Highness, you're leaving now? Shiman Xin asked doubtfully. Qin Feng nodded. I'll leave right away. This is my ID badge. I believe in your ability to only defend the city. In terms of defense, I'm not as good as you, Brother Shiman. Qin Feng said smilingly. He was very relieved to leave this matter of defense to the experienced and prudent Shiman Xin. Qinda and Fenjiuzi unexpectedly played Go continuously for 12 to 14 hours, as if they had forgotten the time. Su Yuan watched the game on one side without saying anything. He also knew that Qinda and Fenjiuzi were not ordinary people, so it was not a big deal even if they did not eat. Therefore, he did not disturb Qinda and Fenjiuzi. Instead, he had a meal halfway through the game. Qinda took a white Go piece and thought for a long time but did not put it down. Fenjiuzi just watched him without urging him. After a long time, a hint of joy suddenly appeared on Qinda's face. He put down the white go piece with a bang. "Brother Feng, I think you—" "Oh." Both Qinda and Fenjiuzi suddenly stood up and looked towards the east. "Experts who are far more powerful than you and me." Qinda's expression was very solemn. The appearance of Xiangyang was already a headache for him. Now there seemed to be two very powerful auras rushing extremely fast from the distance. Just looking at their speed, it was extremely frightening. Fenjiuzi's expression was also solemn. Whiz! A black blur and a pale silver blur directly rushed down extremely fast from the sky like Lu Xing. Almost in the blink of an eye, they arrived in the courtyard from the sky. The appearances of these two mysterious experts were finally revealed. Qinda was dumbfounded in an instant. Fenjiuzi and Su Yuan were also dumbfounded. The three of them looked at the youth in front of them in disbelief. That familiar aura, that familiar expression, and even that familiar black eagle. "Father!" Qin Yu finally cried out for the first time while choking with sobs. He had spent more than 10 months in the untainted land and traveled 100,000 li to cultivate arduously. He had finally returned and seen his father Qinda. Hearing this, Qinda's whole body shook. Qinda's eyes were full of disbelief and ecstasy. It was simply impossible to believe that a person's eyes could have so many meanings. You, Qinda said with a trembling voice. "It's you. You're still alive? Am I dreaming?" Qinda simply could not believe this. Qin Yu, whose heart was pierced in front of him that day, was now alive in front of him. However, Qinda also wanted his son to really be alive. Qin Yu nodded heavily, but his eyes were moist. "Father, I'm alive. I'm still alive." The father and son stared at each other without saying a word. All their emotions were transmitted through their eyes. A person's aura would gradually change along with his cultivation and comprehension, but the change would not be big. Fenjiuzi also noticed that the aura of this person who looked exactly like Qin Yu was very similar to that of Qin Yu. However, his aura was steadier than that of Qin Yu. At the same time, it contained a fiercer momentum. As for Qinda, there was no need to doubt him at all. Qinda had already completely judged Qin Yu's eyes and the exchange of their eyes. At the same time, because of the blood connection between father and son, Qinda was 100% sure that the person in front of him was his son. Even though he simply could not understand how his son had come back to life. However, did he still need to investigate? It was already very lucky that his son had come back to life. He had already thanked the heavens and the earth. Why should he investigate how Qin Yu had come back to life? It was still very late at night, but Qinda immediately ordered his subordinates to prepare a sumptuous banquet. Ever since he came back from the tribulation, he had never been so happy and excited. He did not even pay much attention to what he ate and drank. Because Qinda was so excited to prepare a banquet all of a sudden, the chefs under his command also started to work in full swing. Late at night, the entire town of Xiang was lit up with fire everywhere. In the courtyard of Qinda's residence, Qinda, Su Yuan, Fenjiuzi and Qin Yu were sitting around a stone table. Dishes were served one after another. They stopped temporarily after filling 6 plates. Not far from the stone table, there was a huge roast lamb prepared for Xiao Hei. "Xiao Hei, I didn't know you also liked cooked food. I used to think you only liked to eat wild animals," Qin Yu said to Xiao Hei through holy sense communication. Just now when they started to put plates of dishes on the stone table, Xiao Hei unexpectedly told Qin Yu through holy sense communication that he wanted to eat roast lamb. Qin Yu naturally told his father about this. Qinda could feel Xiao Hei's power, so he secretly sighed at how formidable Xiao Hei was. As soon as he heard what Qin Yu said, he immediately ordered his men to prepare roast lamb. "Are you blaming me? Big brother, I didn't undergo the tribulation in the past, so my intelligence wasn't too high. After overcoming the tribulation, I had to practice and train hard all the way back. If we roasted wild animals with our true fire, I suppose they would have turned into ashes in an instant," Xiao Hei said helplessly. After going through the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation, Xiao Hei's intelligence was about the same as that of a human being, so naturally he had many ideas. I really didn't expect that the beam of light that was like a heavenly tribulation was actually a transmission technique. You've been practicing in the wilderness for so long, so you should have already gone through the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation. Father feels that not only have you surpassed me, you've also surpassed your Uncle Feng. Qin sighed. Qin Yu said with a smile, "There are many demonic beasts in the wilderness. I also killed some demonic beasts and refined the power of Jin Dan. That's why I improved so quickly. As for my strength, it shouldn't be a problem for me to deal with late Jin Dan experts." Qin Yu said this modestly. It was simply impossible to judge his and Xiao Hei's strength from their appearance. Back then, Qin Yu was at the early nebula stage and Xiao Hei was at the early Jin Dan stage. One man and one eagle used their unique skills to kill 2 late Jin Dan stage black wind leopards. Later, after refining 2 late Jin Dan stage, Qin Yu and Xiao Hei both advanced a step. Now Qin Yu is at the middle nebula stage and Xiao Hei is at the middle Jin Dan stage. It will be really easy for them to deal with late Jin Dan stage experts. As soon as Qin Yu finished speaking, the sound of hoof beats rose outside the courtyard. "Father!" Along with a familiar voice, the gate of the courtyard opened. Qin Feng hurried for a long time at top speed and finally arrived at the town of Xiang. He went straight to this courtyard. "Father, why did you order?" Xiao Yu." Seeing Qin Yu, Qin Feng was stupefied as if his whole body had been struck by lightning. Chapter 89. Big Brother. Qin Yu also suddenly stands up from his seat. His eyes are full of excitement. However, at this moment Qin Feng's shock is far greater than Qin Yu's. When he first learned of Qin Yu's death, Qin Feng's heart was in pain and grief for a long time. In this war, Qin Feng also wanted to avenge his third brother. However, at this moment his third brother is unexpectedly standing in front of him alive. "Xiao Yu." Qin Feng does not know what to say all of a sudden. "Feng, sit down quickly. You'll know about you, later. Don't look. It's your third brother. Your third brother is indeed alive and well." Qin De is also very happy. How long has it been since Qin De last smiled so happily? Qin Feng suddenly shakes his head. Who cares? As long as his third brother is alive, it's a happy event. Qin Yu also sits down at once. The 5 of them sit in a circle. Qin De says, "You, continue to talk about what happened to you in the wilderness." Just now Qin Yu said that he was hit by that beam of light and was sent to the wilderness, but he did not say anything else. Qin Yu says smilingly, "When I was transmitted to my master's residence in the wilderness, I started to practice peacefully. Later on, I sensed that the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation was coming soon. But Xiao Hei crossed the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation earlier than me." Qin Yu looks at Xiao Hei smilingly. Qin De, Qin Feng, Fenjiuzi and Su Yuan all look at Xiao Hei with amazement in their eyes. When Qin Yu was 7 years old, he took in an eagle chick. Qin De and the others all know about this, so they can naturally calculate the time that Xiao Hei has been practicing. Generally, demonic beasts with relatively low intelligence find it harder to practice than human beings. To reach the state of crossing the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation in just 10 odd years is almost a shocking thing. "Xiao Yu," Fenjiuzi exclaims, "at that time I couldn't tell what kind of black eagle your eagle was. Now it has entered the state of Jin Dan so quickly. It seems this black eagle must belong to a very special demonic beast." Xiao Hei flapped his wings, looking very happy. However, Xiao Hei did not communicate with the others through his spiritual sense. "Haha, Xiao Yu and this black eagle are both freaks. I think it's amazing that I've reached the late Xiantian stage at such a young age. Xiao Yu isn't even 20 yet, but he's already passed the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation. Xiao Hei has also passed it. This man and eagle are really freaks. Qin Feng drank his wine and laughed out loud. Qin De also drinks a cup of wine and says to Qin Feng, Feng your third brother has not only passed the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation. Now you, can even defeat Jin Dan stage experts. Not long ago, Brother Feng and I discovered you, and this Black Hawk with our spiritual awareness. Their speed is more than 10 times faster than my art of sword flight. Qin Yu cultivated the stellar transformations, and the power of the stars flowed from the nebula outside his body to the nebula inside his body, forming a cycle. The power of the stars continued to flow through his muscles and bones, and it was also a process of tempering his muscles and bones. Qin Yu's body could be compared to a holy weapon. Without using a flying sword, Qin Yu, who had reached the middle nebula stage, was able to fly faster than Qin De. Once he stepped on a flying sword, his speed became even faster. As for using the man and weapon unification, it was normal for him to be faster than Qin De by 10 times. A Zionist's flying speed was also a reflection of his power. Qin Yu's speed is so fast that even Qin De and Fenjiuzi believe in his power. Father, if you keep talking, I'm going to die of shame. He can even defeat a late Jin Dan stage expert. I'm only at the late Xiantian stage, and I'm still the big brother. Although Qin Feng said so, he was actually very happy. On one side, Su Yuan said, All right, all of you don't have to be modest. Qin Feng, you've reached the late Xiantian stage at such a young age, and you're already ashamed of yourself. Then why don't I, an old guy who hasn't reached the Xiantian stage, go home and be sad? Hearing Su Yuan's words, the people present could not help bursting into laughter. Su Yuan's talent in martial arts is indeed ordinary. After so many years, he still has not reached the Xiantian stage. All right, you, go on. What happened to you later in the wilderness? Qin De asked with a smile. The others also looked at Qin Yu. They were all very curious about the mysterious wilderness. Although they had not yet reached the depths of the wilderness, in the past few Shangxian dared to do so. Qin Yu drank a cup of wine and said frankly with assurance, Xiao He and I had to face the heavenly tribulation. In fact, Xiao He's heavenly tribulation was rather dangerous. It was mainly because there were nearly 1,000 blue flame wolves in a mountain forest nearby. Although none of them were at the Jindan stage, the weakest of them were at the early Xiantian stage. Plus, there were so many of them. When Xiao He was going through his 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation, nearly 1,000 blue flame wolves unexpectedly besieged us. Everybody stopped eating and drinking. Nearly 1,000 Xiantian demonic beasts besieged them. Moreover, they also knew that Qin Yu had not yet undergone his tribulation and his power was only at the peak of the Xiantian stage. Although they saw that Qin Yu was still alive and well, they were still worried about Qin Yu at that time. Big brother, don't tell anyone that I have hereditary memories. Xiao He's voice suddenly sounded in Qin Yu's mind. Qin Yu smiled and said through his holy sense, Don't worry, I won't tell anyone your secret. Qin Yu continued to talk about what happened at that time. Luckily I had the flaming sword and the flaming gloves, so I risked my life. After Xiao He passed his 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation, his power increased greatly and he killed quite a few blue flame wolves in one breath. Only then did those wolves leave. Hearing this, Qin Yu and the others let out a long sigh of relief. However, they also knew that the scene at that time must have been extremely tragic. After all, there were close to 1,000 blue fire wolves. If they attacked from all directions, there would be blue fire wolves. After a long time, Qin Yu finally finished talking about this trip to the untainted land briefly. Of course, Qin Yu did not mention that his master, Lei Wei, came from another universe, nor did Qin Yu mention some secret methods of the stellar transformations. Divine Beast Dragon Rocky Lion. Divine Beast Red Luan. Fenjiuzi gasped. Hearing the last part of Qin Yu's story, they could even feel how formidable these two divine beasts were from Qin Yu's words. Divine beasts are divine beasts only because they are very talented. Divine beasts are also very weak when they are just born. But divine beasts at the Yuanying stage are absolutely invincible for Fenjiuzi and the others. At least at the Yuanying stage. Moreover, They are the dragon Rocky Lion whose defense and attack are ridiculously strong and the red Luan which is like a phoenix. Even at the Yuanying stage, these two divine beasts can definitely catch up with Dongshu stage Xiationists. As a Xiationist, Fenjiuzi knows about some demonic beasts. Qin De and the others are speechless. Dongshu stage Xiationists? This is already beyond their imagination. From the Yuanying stage to the Dongshu stage, one has to go through the 6 to 9 major heavenly tribulations. The gap between the Yuanying stage and the Dongshu stage is a threshold. In Qin De and Fenjiuzi's eyes, Xiangyang, who is only at the early Yuanying stage, is already invincible. In front of such an expert, Qin De and Fenjiuzi are like babies in front of a giant. Not bad, not bad. Qin De was also scared for his son. Qin Yu says helplessly, "There's nothing we can do about it. They were really too strong." Luckily, the Red Luan appeared at the end and fought that dragon Rocky Lion. Otherwise, Xiao He and I would have been eaten by it. The dragon Rocky Lion was really too strong. Recalling the scene at that time, Qin Yu still feels a sense of oppression. It's more than strong. The defense of a dragon Rocky Lion is even stronger than that of a dragon of the same rank. Even a Dongshu stage Xiationist would need a high-grade flying sword to break the defense of a Yuanying stage dragon Rocky Lion. A Yuanying stage Xiationist wouldn't be able to hurt a dragon Rocky Lion even if he had a high-grade flying sword. As for the Red Luan, an ordinary flying sword would have been directly melted by its protective flame before it could even get close to it. Fenjiuzi says with a little excitement. Everybody is silent for a while. For Fenjiuzi and the others, who are still bitterly training in the Jindan stage, such a divine beast is something they can only look up to. Well, this kind of divine beast won't leave the wilderness. What are you worried about? Seeing their expressions, Fenjiuzi hurriedly comforts them. But Fenjiuzi shakes his head and says with a smile, "No wonder, no wonder. There are so many demonic beasts in the wilderness. Even Xiationists from the overseas immortal islands don't dare to go deep into the wilderness. They only dare to wander around the border. 2 divine beasts of at least the Yuanying stage have appeared even before they have entered the depths of the wilderness. Then what kind of existences will there be in the depths of the wilderness? The depths of the wilderness? Perhaps even Deshang stage experts won't dare to go there." Qin Yu says in his mind. From some of Lei Wei's books and notes, he also knows the terrors of the depths of the wilderness. Even though Lei Wei has the power to kill a Deshang stage expert, he did not dare to go any closer when he was approaching the depths of the wilderness. After talking about Qin Yu's journey to the wilderness, everybody talks about the process of the Qin clan's uprising. After a very long time, everybody has drunk a lot of wine and eaten a lot of dishes. At this moment, a ray of light unexpectedly appears in the sky. It is already dawn. This banquet, which has lasted for half the night, is still not over. Father, this time you ordered us not to attack and only allowed us to defend the city. Why is that? Now we've already occupied 11 counties. As long as the 3 sides besiege us, destroying Ba Chu County will be a piece of cake. Only now does Qin Feng remember the purpose of this banquet. As soon as Qin De hears this, he gives a slight forced smile. Su Yuan says, "Qin Feng, you don't know, but yesterday Xiang Yang of the Xiang clan came." Xiang Yang. Xiang Yang. Qin Yu and Qin Yu exclaim almost at the same time. Qin Yu continues, "Could it be that Xiang Yang, the first emperor who really founded the Chu dynasty?" Qin Yu also looks at Su Yuan and Qin De. In his heart, he is also very amazed. "Yes, it's him," Qin De says with a nod. Moreover, he's already reached the early stage of Yuanying. Qin Yu's face slightly changes color. In his mind, however, he thinks to himself, "This Xiang Yang has already reached the early stage of Yuanying. When he was at the early stage of Nebula, he killed a black wind leopard at the late stage of Jindan. Now he has even reached the middle stage of Nebula. Logically speaking, he should be able to put up a fight against Xiang Yang. However, the difference between the late stage of Jindan and the early stage of Yuanying is not only in terms of power but also in terms of comprehension of the heavenly law. The difference in realms is very difficult to make up for. At the moment, Qin Yu also feels uncertain. If I join forces with Xiao He and use our own unique skills, maybe we can succeed. Qin Yu secretly calculates in his mind. Qin De continues, that Xiang Yang is very rude and unreasonable. He even tried in vain to make my Qin clan return directly to the 3 eastern region counties. A faint cold smile appears on his face. Humph, he's a Zionist and he wants to rely on absolute force to make me yield. How can that be possible? Qin Feng also stands up and says, "What are you afraid of? Our 3 armies will attack. Even if he's very strong, what can he do by himself?" Qin De says with a deep sigh, "Yes, he can't do anything to our armies. But he can wipe out the entire Qin clan." Hearing this, Qin Feng is immediately dumbfounded. If an early-stage Yuanying expert really wants to be ruthless, it won't be difficult for him to wipe out the entire Qin clan. So, I had no choice but to compromise. I had to use the army to threaten him. Once he touches a member of my Qin clan, I'll wipe out the entire Xiong clan even at the risk of my entire clan being killed. Only then did this old geezer have some misgivings. Qin De says with a sigh. Now Qin Feng finally understands his father's difficulties. Wiping out the entire Qin clan was possible in the past, but now it's impossible. Qin Yu's ice-cold voice rises. Qin De, Fenjiuzi, Qin Feng and Su Yuan all look at Qin Yu. They somewhat cannot believe that Qin Yu just said such overbearing words. However, at the moment, Qin Yu's swift and fierce aura and the coldness in his eyes have already shown his determination. "Xiao Yu, you're no match for him," Fenjiuzi reprimands coldly. "Even though you were able to kill late-stage Jindan experts, the gap between late-stage Jindan experts and early-stage Yuanying experts is too big. That's a gap in realms, which is very difficult to make up for with power. They've been practicing for nearly 1,000 years. You've only been practicing for 20 years. How can you compare realms?" Qin Yu understands Fenjiuzi's words, but he says nothing. Qin Yu does not know what his own realm is like, but he knows one thing, that is, Lu Xing's tear's energy is slowly nourishing his soul at all times. Qin Yu's cultivation level is improving almost all the time. Even though it's slow, the advantage is that it never stops. Don't worry. We can endure it. When you weren't here, I didn't have a solution. Now that you're here, I have a solution. You just have to endure it first. You've reached your current realm in 20 years. Given your practicing speed, you can practice for another 10 to 20 years. At that time, it won't be too late to make a move when you're 100% sure. Qin De knows his third son Qin Yu's temper very well. Once he has made a decision, there is simply no way to persuade him. Therefore, he can only use this method to persuade him. Qin Yu nods his head but does not say anything. He does not want his father to worry. "Xiao He, do you think we can deal with an early-stage Yuanying Zionist if we join hands?" Qin Yu says through his holy sense. "You didn't die even after encountering a mythical beast like the dragon Rocky Lion. Big brother, you're actually scared by an early-stage Yuanying Zionist." Xiao Hei's voice rises in Qin Yu's mind through his holy sense. Hearing this, Qin Yu can't help but smile. Naturally, Qin Yu has also made a decision. Chapter 90. Qin Yu has returned. Qin De has also ordered someone to pass on this news to Qin Zheng in Wuxue town. In Xiong town, the Qin clan is also staying together. It is very warm. At the moment, in the Weiyang Palace of the Imperial Palace of Bachu County, pass on my order. The 200,000 armored cavalrymen of my Xiong clan are to be dispatched. Any army of the Qin clan loitering outside the city is to be directly routed, killed or captured. Don't worry about anything else. Xiong Yang's voice comes out from behind the beaded curtain. Mr. Lan says doubtfully, "Master, you're saying that we should take out our trump card army to attack the Qin clan's army?" "Yes. Xiang Yang says indifferently. Mr. Lan immediately bows and says, Master, the Qin clan is now encircling our Ba Chu county from 3 sides. At this moment, we don't even have enough soldiers to defend ourselves. Do you want us to dispatch the most important 200,000 armored cavalrymen? This. Xuemo, how long have you been following me? Xiang Yang asks in reply. Lan Xuemo says respectfully, I've been following you for nearly 100 years. For nearly 100 years, I originally thought you were the smartest of my several disciples, but now it looks like you've really disappointed me. Xiang Yang says with a sigh. Hearing this sigh from behind the beaded curtain, Lan Xuemo's mind immediately churns like lightning. Suddenly, Lan Xuemo remembers one thing: his master's martial prowess. Could it be you've made some kind of agreement with that Qin De? Lan Xuemo asks cautiously. Xiang Yang bursts out laughing. Looks like you're not too stupid. That Qin De has already made an agreement with me. As long as I don't personally get into action against him, his armies on 3 sides won't be able to attack. We'll maintain the current balance between us. Lan Xuemo becomes doubtful. Balance? Don't tell me we'll continue to be in a deadlock like this? Of course not. Xiang Yang's voice becomes fierce. No matter what, my Xiang clan's territory was fought for by me and my father. For nearly 1,000 years, I've been watching over it. No matter who it is, it's impossible for anyone to take it away from me. Lan Xuemo says again, Then what do you have to do about the current situation, master? Xiang Yang calmed down and smiled faintly. I just need a period of time, a period of transition. Your 4th junior brother has already been ordered by me to bring several tens of talented members of the imperial family to a secret place. Lan Xuemo frowned. Now that his master had left the Xiang clan's bloodline alive, perhaps he was about to act ruthlessly. Within a year, I will use their lives to threaten the leaders of the various forces of the Qin clan to pledge allegiance to me. To me, this is a piece of cake. Of course, on the eve of the counterattack, I have to raise the morale of my Xiang clan's army. Xiang Yang says indifferently. Lan Xuemo nodded to himself. Yes, morale. The morale of an army is very important. During this period of time, the Qin clan's army has seized 3 of the Xiang clan's 4 counties with a nearly unstoppable momentum. Now that the morale of the Xiang clan's army is almost depleted, the most important thing is to restore it. Whether it's the Mu clan or the Shangguan clan. Even if the higher-ups have sided with the Qin clan, I don't believe that those generals or deputy generals will be 100% loyal to the Qin clan as long as I threaten them with death. Humph, I believe it's normal for them to side with the Xiang clan. Xiang Yang's voice becomes ice-cold. At this critical moment, I have no choice but to use some extreme measures. The Qin clan is very powerful, so we have to disrupt its army's morale and lower its morale. When the time comes, my Xiang clan's army will set out. Together with the leaders of the forces I've threatened, the army will definitely win. Now Lan Xuemo understands completely. The reason why I'm sending the armored cavalry to attack those scattered troops is to raise the morale of my Xiang clan. The Qin clan doesn't dare to attack, so it can only defend passively. Haha, master is indeed brilliant. Now Lan Xuemo also understands completely. When Xiang Yang discussed this with Qin De, he seemed to be at a disadvantage. But Xiang Yang is definitely not an ordinary person. Almost as soon as they talked, he came up with a series of follow-up plans in his mind. After all, Xiang Yang is actually the first emperor of the Chu kingdom. Moreover, Xiang Yang has a backup plan. Even if the first wave of attack fails, some of the Xiang clan's descendants will have already been sent to a secret place. Together with the Xiang clan's wealth, secret forces and the existence of Xiang Yang, it will not be difficult for the Xiang clan to rise again. All right, Xuemo, do as I say. Sending the Xiang clan's armored cavalry to do these trivial things is like using a sledgehammer to kill a chicken. Xiang Yang says with an indifferent smile. The Xiang clan's armored cavalry is absolutely an elite troop of the Xiang clan. Each of its warriors is a qualified warrior who has gone through bloody battles. The Xiang clan's armored cavalry has had an illustrious reputation since the era of the Western Chu conqueror. For so many years, with Xiang Yang's insistence behind the scenes, the Xiang clan's armored cavalry has never slacked off in their training. Within the territory of Lei Shui County, the Xiang clan's armored cavalry attacks everywhere. Almost no troops dare to wander between cities anymore. Once there are any idle troops, they will be destroyed by the Xiang clan's armored cavalry in one fell swoop. The troops in Lei Shui County are all holed up in the cities. For the time being, the Xiang clan's morale soars. The Xiang clan's army roams between cities and often calls for battle outside the cities. But the Qin clan's army can only sullenly hang up a sign saying that they are not going to fight. The Xiang clan's army inevitably becomes even more arrogant. Even though the Qin clan's warriors are furious, military orders must be obeyed. None of them dares to disobey. However, there is still an army that dares to go from one city to another. This is the Fierce Tiger Army. 50,000 fierce tiger soldiers. Even though there are only 50,000 of them are the elites of the Qin clan's army. In terms of quality, the officers and soldiers of the Fierce Tiger Army are even a bit better than the Xiang clan's armored cavalry. Moreover, the Fierce Tiger's attack power is far greater than that of a fine horse's. The Fierce Tiger Army and the Fierce Tiger Army are a powerful combination. Moreover, a single roar from the 50,000 fierce tigers of the Fierce Tiger Army is enough to make the fine horses of the armored cavalry lose their courage. Even the 200,000 Xiang clan's armored cavalry does not dare to attack the 50,000 Fierce Tiger Army. However, only the 50,000 Fierce Tiger Army dares to do so. The other troops in Lei Shui County have no choice but to withdraw because of military orders. Who knows how long these kinds of days will last? In the town of Xiang, big brother, second brother, cheers. The three brothers Qin Yu, Qin Feng and Qin Zheng are sitting around a stone table and drinking to their heart's content under a willow tree in the courtyard. Qin Zheng has received the news that Qin Yu has returned, so he is wild with joy and rushes to the town of Xiang extremely fast from the town of Wuxue. The three brothers have reunited this time, so when they talk about their experiences, they all sigh endlessly. When Qin Yu was a child in Misty Villa, the three brothers were still frolicking with each other in that hot spring. That scene seems to still be in front of their eyes. However, 10 odd years have passed and the three brothers have all made their own achievements. Qin Feng, the commander of an army, was the first to break through Lei Shui County. Now he is only 28 years old but has already reached the late Xiantian stage. Qin Zheng, the next clan master of the Qin clan, will even become the emperor of the new dynasty in the future. Qin Yu, even though he is the youngest and in the past he did not stand out, but now he has attracted everybody's attention. A 20-year-old youngster has already surpassed a Shangxian like Fenjiuzi. Qin Yu can even deal with Wu De. Each of the three brothers of the Qin clan is really outstanding. We were about to unify the whole Chu kingdom. Who could have thought that an old geezer from the Xiang clan, a super expert who has reached the early yuanying stage. Qin Feng drinks up the wine in his cup in one gulp, then suddenly puts it down. Obviously, he is very indignant. Qin Zhang says with a sigh, "Father said that this Xiang Yang is extraordinarily powerful. Even if Father and Uncle Feng join forces, they still won't be able to withstand a single blow from this Xiang Yang." Qin Feng looks at Qin Yu and says, "Xiao Yu, remember, the Qin clan's hope is on you. You must remember that no matter what happens, we can't afford to lose. Our Qin clan can't afford to lose. Once you fail, the Qin clan will be finished. Therefore, you must endure until you're 100% sure you can take action." Qin Feng looks at Qin Yu with an expectant look in his eyes. "Xiao Yu, you must endure." Qin Zheng also looks at Qin Yu. Big brother, second brother. For the moment, Qin Yu has thought of many things in his mind. But facing the expectations of his big brother and second brother, what can he do? He can only nod. At night, in Qinda's room, "Your Highness, now the Xiang clan is unscrupulous and is attacking our scattered troops everywhere. Some cities don't have enough food, so they even have to ask the Fierce Tiger Army to transport the food themselves. This is really..." Su Yuan says with a sigh. Having the Fierce Tiger Army, the absolute trump card, transport the food naturally makes Su Yuan feel helpless. Qin De looks out of the room through the window with a deep frown. Su Yuan, the current situation is very unfavorable to us, very unfavorable. Even though that Xiang Yang looks like he's afraid of our army and doesn't dare to do anything. But, what kind of person is Xiang Yang? How was the Chu dynasty founded in the past? How did it become the most powerful of the three big dynasties? Says Qin De disappointedly. When the hegemon of Western Chu died, the Xiang clan became the target of public criticism. In that situation, Xiang Yang was still able to lead the Xiang clan to establish the Chu dynasty. Moreover, he even made the Chu dynasty the most powerful of the three big dynasties. Some of the stratagems and tricks that Xiang Yang used in the past have even been recorded in books and handed down to later generations. Xiang Yang's wisdom is definitely not to be underestimated. Moreover, which old bastard is not extremely cunning? This genius of the Xiang clan who has lived for 1,000 years is definitely not to be underestimated. We can't attack. We simply don't know what kind of tricks that Xiang Yang is going to use. Moreover, this Xiang Yang, he himself is too strong. In the early stage of Yuanying, we simply can't threaten him. Qin De says with a sigh. Su Yuan says, Xiao Yu and that Black Eagle, aren't they both able to deal with late-stage Jin Dan experts? If they join forces, perhaps they can deal with that Xiang Yang. Hearing Qin Yu's name, Qin De says with a gratified smile, luckily the Qin clan still has Qin Yu. The son I paid the least attention to and paid the least attention to in the past has now become a person who is related to the future of the Qin clan. But, we definitely can't let you attack now. You're not a Zionist, so you simply can't imagine the gap between two levels. It's really hard to make up for the gap between levels. Qin De's eyes glitter with determination. Why? Your Highness, we can't drag this out any longer. The longer we drag it out, the more dangerous it will be for us. Who knows what kind of tricks that Xiang Yang is actually preparing? Su Yuan is also somewhat afraid of that Xiang Yang. This old guy who has lived for nearly 1,000 years not only has extraordinary tricks up his sleeves but is also very powerful. He is indeed difficult to deal with. Qin De says slowly with a shake of his head, 10 years or 20 years. Given Yu's current rate of practice, we only need to wait for another 10 or 20 years. At that time, Yu will have 100% confidence in killing Xiang Yang. Only then will we let Yu attack. Our Qin clan can't afford to fail. 10 or 20 years. Many things will happen in these 10 or 20 years. 10 or 20 years is enough for Xiang Yang to make a comeback. Su Yuan says hurriedly. Make a comeback? Qin De says grimly, the current situation won't last long. I'm not so incompetent as to let Xiang Yang make a comeback. At the very least, I have to maintain my influence in the army. At most, Xiang Yang can only threaten the leaders of the army. Fine, then I'll reduce the influence of the army leaders and increase the influence of the Qin clan. After all, Qin De is also an outstanding person. He is not someone that Xiang Yang can easily bully. Your Highness, at a certain point, when the Xiang clan stabilizes, that Xiang Yang will probably assassinate the Qin clan's disciples. Su Yuan says worriedly. Assassinate? Qin De says with a cold laugh. He can kill as many people as he wants. If I die, I'll die. As long as Xiao Yu doesn't die, we can kill that Xiang Yang later. The Xiang clan is not enough to be feared. Otherwise, even if we obtain the world, with Xiang Yang's existence, our Qin clan won't be able to sit still. Su Yuan lets out a sigh. He has to admit that this is the most helpless solution. In Qin Yu's room, Qin Yu, who is sitting with legs crossed on the bed, opens his eyes. There seems to be a layer of mist in Qin Yu's eyes. Father. Qin Yu's holy sense knows everything that happened just now. Qin Yu's eyes flash. Don't worry, Father. No matter what happens, I won't let you down. 10 to 20 years is too long. It's long enough for many things to happen. I can't bear the pain of losing you and my brothers. A faint smile suddenly appears on the corners of Qin Yu's mouth. Master, Maybe I'll have to use that trick of yours this time. These days, Qin Yu has been living very happily in the town of Xiang. The three brothers often get together. Qin De also spends time with his three sons. For so many years, it has been very rare for the four of them to get together like this. One early morning, when Qin De has just gotten up and walked out of his room, suddenly, "Father, father, Xiao Yu has disappeared. This is the jade box he left behind. I can't open it." Qin Zhang runs over with a jade box in his hand. He's disappeared. Qin De's face changes color. He immediately takes the jade box. At a glance, he can tell that this is the most basic restrictive spell. Generally, any Ziotionist can open it. Of course, if you're not a Ziotionist, you simply won't be able to open it. Qin De opens the jade box with ease. There is a letter and 3 ancient books in it. There are 4 characters on the letter, respectfully opened by Father. Qin De's heart is shaken. He has a very bad premonition. He immediately opens the letter. "Father, by the time you open this letter, I'll probably have already arrived in Ba Chu County. Father, you must know my speed. I can only guarantee that Xiang Yang will definitely die in this battle no matter what happens. The ancestral dragon art was left behind by the first emperor, and it can only be used up to the Aurus core stage. The 3 secret manuals I left behind are all top-notch cultivation manuals, and they have detailed descriptions from the Aurus core stage to the Great Success stage. These techniques are different from the Shojin techniques of the overseas Immortal Islands. There's no need to worry about other people finding trouble with them. This is all I can do for you. Leave this message." Chapter 91. Qin De's hands, which are holding the letter, tremble slightly. The expression on his face changes several times in the blink of an eye. "Father, what's wrong with Xiao Yu? What does this letter say?" Qin Zhang hurriedly asks Qin De with an anxious expression. At the moment, Qin Zhang has a bad feeling in his heart, especially after seeing Qin De's expression. The muscles on Qin De's face slightly tremble. His eyes turn red in the blink of an eye. Then he takes a deep breath. His whole chest takes a deep breath like a bellows, trying hard to suppress the surging emotions in his body. He must endure. Qin De's eyes are moist. He hands the letter to Qin Zheng beside him. How do you want father to treat you?" Qin De raises his head to look at the sky. His face is full of disappointment and frustration. "I'm sorry, but you've helped me time and time again. Last time you didn't hesitate to perish together with others. Now you..." Qin De still remembers those words in his heart. "I can only guarantee that no matter what happens in this battle, Xiang Yang will definitely die." Qin De knows his third son very well. As long as he guarantees it, it will definitely be accomplished. But, in order to achieve his goal, his third son will even disregard his own life. This is his son, Qin Yu. Should he be proud to have such a son? But at the moment, Qin De is very distressed. He knows that his son Qin Yu is going for the Qin clan. As long as they win this battle, the Qin clan will have a lot of benefits. But he is a father after all. The resonating bloodline feelings between the father and son could not be concealed. "Father, Xiao Yu, how can he be so muddle-headed? We can wait for 10 or 20 years. Then..." Qin Zheng is also in a panic at the moment. But he has no choice now. Chase after him? From here to Ba Chu County, even Fenjiuzi and the others need a day's time. Qin Yu only needs 2 to 4 hours to get there. They simply cannot catch up with him. Qin Yu's speed is really too fast. Wait. 10 or 20 years is too long. A lot of things can happen in this period of time. Qin De completely understands what his son is thinking in his heart. But the more he understands what his son is thinking, the more pain he feels in his heart. Xiao Yu, third brother. Qin Zheng's face was also filled with grief. He also completely understood. Second brother, where's little Yu? What are you all doing? Qin Feng also ran over. Qin De suddenly says to Qin Zheng, Zheng, this letter and the 3 secret books are the most important treasures of the Qin family. You must protect them well. Remember, from now on, you'll be in charge of everything in the Qin family. You represent the entire Qin family. Don't be impulsive. Qin De puts the 3 secret books in Qin Zheng's hands. Qin Zheng couldn't help being startled. Looking at Qin De, he asked doubtfully, Lord Father, what are you doing? Since Yu'er said that he could kill Xiangyang, I believe that he will succeed. That Xiangyang is dead for sure. However, all of you know Yu'er's temper. He doesn't fear death. In this battle, in order to kill Xiangyang, it's hard to say whether Yu'er will be able to return. Qin De's voice was extremely low. On one side, Qin Feng and Qin Zheng were listening. As brothers, of course they knew Qin Yu's temper. Thinking of this, Qin Zheng's and Qin Feng's faces immediately change color greatly. Haha, no matter what, let your Lord Father be impulsive for a while. If I don't see you again, I'll feel uneasy for the rest of my life. Zheng, remember, everything in the Qin family is in your hands. Feng, remember, you must protect the Qin family well. Qin De entrusts his 2 sons. Everything in the Qin family is in the hands of you 2 brothers. Qin De looks at his 2 sons. Qin Zheng and Qin Feng clench their teeth tightly. Their eyes are slightly red, but they still nod resolutely. Seeing his 2 sons' reactions, Qin De smiles. His smile is very relaxed. Haha. Qin De, have lived for so long. The thing I'm most proud of is that I have 3 sons like you. A flying sword appears under Qin De's feet. He turns his head and takes a look at his 2 sons. Stepping on the flying sword, he flies up into the sky directly. Lord Father. Qin Zheng and Qin Feng look at Qin De, who is gradually leaving in the sky. Qin Yu's image seems to appear in Qin De's eyes. Lord Father owes you too much. At this time, how can I still hide behind you and let you fight to the death in front of me? Even if I die, Lord Father will still be by your side. Qin De rides the flying sword. His long hair flutters wantonly. His whole person gives off an unrestrained feeling. Qin De knows that he was impulsive this time. But no matter how you live your life, if you are always too rational, then living is too tiring. At this moment, the feelings that have been suppressed in Qin De's heart for a long time completely break out. He doesn't want to care about anything else. Now that the Qin family has been handed over to his 2 sons, he is completely at ease. At this moment, he is impulsive and wanton, but he enjoys this feeling. Stepping on the flying sword, Qin De turns into a beam of light and disappears directly on the western horizon. Qin Yu and Xiao He have already reached the territory of Ba Chu County. At the moment, they are only a short distance away from the capital. Xiao He, this battle is very dangerous. Qin Yu says to Xiao He by his side through holy sense communication. Big brother, don't talk nonsense. You and I have never been separated for so many years. We even dare to face divine beasts. What is there to be afraid of? Isn't he just a Zionist at the early stage of Yuanying? Big brother, don't be so modest in front of me in the future. The Black Eagle looks at Qin Yu with his sharp eyes. His eyes emit a strong feeling of not giving up until death. Qin Yu bursts out laughing. Haha, Xiao He, I have no regrets in this life to have a brother like you who has gone through life and death. Qin Yu feels a burst of joy in his heart. That's more like it. But big brother, we're not going to throw our lives away. No matter what, we should devise a plan to deal with that Xiangyang. The Black Eagle says through holy sense communication. This Xiao He's intelligence is indeed no less than that of a normal human. Qin Yu nods his head and begins to ponder. Xiao He suddenly says through holy sense communication, Big brother, tomorrow is the night of the full moon. In my hereditary memories, there's a unique technique that can be used on the night of the full moon. Its power is much stronger than my thunder fire. Humph, it's just a Xiangyang. This technique of mine will at least seriously injure him. Qin Yu understands in his heart. Xiao He is very proud and aloof. Even so, Xiao He only says at least seriously injure him. Obviously, in his heart, Xiao He is somewhat afraid of Xiang Yang, who is at the early stage of yuanying. Okay, but shouldn't we go test this Xiang Yang's power now? There is a faint smile on the corners of Qin Yu's mouth. Xiao He immediately lets out an eagle cry. Only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win every battle. Qin Yu and Xiao He are not even as fast as a golden flame eagle at the early stage of yuanying. In general, the speed of sword-riding humans at the same level is not as fast as that of birds who are good at flying. Qin Yu and Xiao He also believe that Xiang Yang's speed is definitely not as fast as theirs. Qin Yu and Xiao He turn into two afterimages. In just a short while, these two afterimages have flown to the sky above the imperial palace in the capital of Ba Chu County. A man and an eagle stand side by side. The surface of Qin Yu's body is filled with the illusory light silver power of the stars. His whole body is faintly discernible in the fog-like power of the stars. Xiao He spreads its huge wings. Streaks of lightning also spread out. The enormous momentum of this man and eagle sweeps through the whole imperial palace like a storm. Xiang Yang, come out quickly. Qin Yu says loudly. His voice is transmitted by the power of the stars. Like ripples, it spreads downwards with him as the center. Qin Yu's voice resounds through the whole capital. At the same time, it vibrates continuously in the sky above the capital. For a moment, everybody in the capital is shocked. All of them look up into the sky. Those who are slightly more powerful all see a blurry figure in the sky and a black eagle. Xiang Yang, come out quickly. Qin Yu's voice reverberates unceasingly. It reverberates between the walls and between heaven and earth. Everybody in the imperial palace, including the members of the Xiang clan, also hears it. At the same time, a sharp eagle cry resounds through the sky. Xiao He seems to want to compete with Qin Yu. That eagle cry is extremely loud and resounding unceasingly, echoing with Qin Yu's voice. Everybody in the capital is completely stunned by this sound. Standing in the sky. That's a Shangxian, a Shangxian. On the streets of the capital, an internal expert looks up to the sky and looks at that illusory figure. He can't help but be shocked. That immortal said something about Xiang Yang. Ah, Xiang Yang. Could it be that he's the first emperor of the Chu kingdom? Is it the same name or the same person? Everyone in the capital was discussing amongst themselves. However, everyone was filled with respect for the person in the sky. Standing in the sky is a power only Shangxian can have. Shangxian are no longer mortals. In Wu De's residence, Wu De immediately opens the door and walks out after hearing that loud voice. Raising his head to look at that blurry figure, Wu De's heart is filled with astonishment. Xiang Yang. This guy unexpectedly dares to challenge Xiang Yang. Looks like he's also very powerful. Wu De immediately abandons the idea of fighting that blurry figure. An expert who dares to fight against Xiang Yang, who has reached the early stage of yuanying, is simply not someone Wu De can compare with. Pang! In Xiang Guang's bedroom, Xiang Guang suddenly pushes open the door and rushes out. Wearing only bright yellow pajamas, he stands outside the bedroom and looks up at that blurry figure in the sky. His whole body is stupefied with fear. Shangxian. Is this Shangxian going to fight Great Ancestor? Xiang Guang immediately becomes alarmed. At the moment, the Xiang clan's only backer is Great Ancestor. If Xiang Yang is killed by this Shangxian who has suddenly appeared, it will be terrible. Suddenly, who are you, little thief? How dare you shout in the sky above the imperial palace? Similarly, a deep voice comes out from Never-Ending Palace. That voice is not inferior to Qin Yu's in the slightest. It is even somewhat superior. As the voice reverberates, a black-robed figure soars into the sky and flies directly from Never-Ending Palace. His black robe flutters and his long black hair flutters freely. His eyes are extremely cold and sharp. He stares straight at Qin Yu and the others. At the moment, Xiang Yang's aura is as violent as a storm. It sweeps through the entire sky and presses down on Qin Yu and Xiao He. At this moment, all the people in the capital, the Xiang clan members in the imperial palace and that Shangxian Wu De all raise their heads to look at the sky. Illusory stellar energy is drifting around Qin Yu's body like clouds and mists. Those auras, however, cannot touch Qin Yu in the slightest. Xiao Hei's body is flickering with lightning and flames. His fierce aura is rising non-stop. A man and an eagle who haven't even reached the Yuanying stage dare to make trouble for me? Why don't you ask yourself whether you're qualified or not? Xiang Yang says coldly. Xiang Yang's heart is full of anger. Just now Qin Yu shouted, "Xiang Yang, come out quickly," but he feels like he is being ordered around. Qin Yu looks at Xiang Yang in front of him and completely spreads out his spiritual sense. Qin Yu's spiritual sense is very strong. That Lu Xing's tear is not very helpful to the growth of his power and can only heal Qin Yu's injuries. However, the warm current of Lu Xing's tear is constantly nourishing Qin Yu's soul, causing Qin Yu's spiritual sense to also become very tough. Early Yuanying stage. Xiang Yang. You're pretty strong, but unfortunately, you must have been practicing alone. Qin Yu says indifferently. I've been practicing hard for nearly 1,000 years. I broke through the Jin Dan stage and reached the Yuanying stage. This was all because I comprehended and broke through on my own. Because of this, even my Xiang clan's technique has a way to reach the Yuanying stage. Xiang Yang is very arrogant. The Xiang clan also has a technique that has been handed down for generations, which is similar to the Qin clan's ancestral dragon art. In the past, Xiang Yu created a way to reach the Jin Dan stage. Now Xiang Yang has created a way to reach the Yuanying stage. Qin Yu, however, laughs. Xiang Yang, your talent is pretty good. Unfortunately, you comprehended it on your own. Let me ask you, how many flying sword techniques do you know? How many restrictive spells do you know? Do you know the secret of weapon refining? Qin Yu says with a cold laugh. Xiang Yang's face changes color slightly. A person who practices alone has limited energy. Being able to reach the Yuanying stage is already very good. Those so-called flying swords, sword techniques, secret methods of restriction, and the mysteries of refining tools were all created by some cultivation sects that had been passed down for tens of thousands of years through the efforts of countless genius disciples. How can Xiang Yang create them on his own? Qin Yu's body suddenly moves. Turning into an afterimage, he directly arrives in front of Xiang Yang. His forefinger and middle finger form a sword and send out several illusory sword rays of stellar force. At the same time, Qin Yu clenches his fist and punches at Xiang Yang. Humph! Xiang Yang gives a cold snort. His tyrannical elemental energy forms a solid armor. The stellar force sword rays shoot at the armor, causing it to shake for a while. Bang! Qin Yu's punch hits Xiang Yang's body. The armor shakes violently again, but it is not damaged in the slightest. Qin Yu's body moves. He has already returned to his original position. That's all, Xiang Yang reprimands coldly, but in his heart he is amazed by Qin Yu's speed. Qin Yu smiles. Just now he did not use the flaming gloves at all. He only used the original power of his fist to attack. At this moment he has a certain grasp of Xiang Yang's strength. Xiang Yang, your father, the conqueror of Western Chu, died on the river Wu, right? Qin Yu suddenly says. A cold light flashes in Xiang Yang's eyes. He hates it when people talk about his father's death. In his heart, his father is the invincible conqueror, but he was besieged and killed on the river Wu by the immortals of the Qin family. Tomorrow, on the night of the full moon above the river Wu, us two brothers will be waiting for you, Xiang Yang. If you don't dare to come, then forget it. Haha. Qin Yu laughs loudly. Stepping on his flying sword, his whole body turns into Lu Xing lightning, disappearing in front of Xiang Yang in almost an instant. Xiao He also uses the passing lightning flashing 9 times, disappearing in an instant. Xiang Yang's face changes color. He is once again shocked by the speed of this mysterious man and eagle. Tomorrow, on the night of the full moon, above the Wu River. Xiangyang, let's see if you dare to come. That clear voice came from the horizon once more, and it constantly reverberated between the heavens and the earth. Xiangyang's eyes became even colder. Chapter 93. Qin Yu and Xiao He fly side by side. The Wu River is over 2,000 meters long and winding. It's the biggest river in Ba Chu County. It runs through several tens of cities in Ba Chu County. The place where the hegemon king of Western Chu died in battle is not far from the capital. Qin Yu and Xiao He talk to each other through holy sense communication. Big brother, the Wu River is so long. Yu and Xiangyang only said that the battle would take place on the Wu River. Who knows where it will take place? You haven't told that Xiangyang where the battle will take place. Xiao He says doubtfully. He was doubtful just now, but Xiangyang and Qin Yu are not careless people. Xiao He guesses that the two of them must have already understood each other, so he did not ask. Only now does he ask. Qin Yu says with a smile, "Do you still remember what I said to him just now?" Xiao He recalls what Qin Yu said just now. After thinking carefully for a while, he understands. Haha, big brother, you're really insidious. No wonder that Xiangyang's face changed when he heard what you said. Xiao He is also very intelligent. After thinking carefully, he naturally understands. At first Qin Yu was talking to Xiangyang, but then he suddenly mentioned, Xiangyang, your father, the hegemon king of Western Chu, died on the Wu River, didn't he? And then proposed a battle to Xiangyang. What kind of person is Xiangyang? Of course he knows that the location of their battle is the place where the hegemon king of Western Chu died. Qin Yu's meaning is very clear. Your father, the hegemon king of Western Chu, died here. This time I want you to die here too. Humph, 1,000 years ago, my clan Shangxian killed the Jin Dan sage Xiangyang on the Wu River. 1,000 years later, us two brothers killed the even more powerful Xiangyang at the same place. Qin Yu says with a smile. Xiao He sneered through his holy sense. Let the father and son die together. Xiangyang should be satisfied. Other than Qin Yu, Xiao He didn't want to talk to anyone else. Xiao He was only slightly friendly to the Qin family members because of his relationship with Qin Yu. Xiao He didn't care about ordinary people at all. As for the Xiang clan, Xiao He was also very hostile to them because of their relationship with Qin Yu. Xiao He, I have one more thing to do tonight. Can you guess what it is? Qin Yu said with a smile. One more thing. Xiao He pondered for a while before replying, Elder brother, you've already explained to your family. Logically speaking, you should have nothing to worry about. Oh, I see. Xiao He's sharp eagle eyes gleamed. Would right. Qin Yu said through his holy sense. Smart. Tomorrow, on the night of the full moon, on the River Wu, we absolutely can't make the slightest mistake in our fight against Xiangyang. Not only our lives, but also the Qin family. Therefore, if this Wood, a late-stage Jin Dan expert, is alive, I can't fight with peace of mind. Qin Yu's meaning was very clear. If Qin Yu, Xiao He and Xiangyang were to fight and would launch a sneak attack at a crucial moment, perhaps the situation of the battle would change. This was one possibility. The other possibility was that if they died together with Xiangyang, Wood, who hated the Qin family, would also be a threat to the Qin family. No matter what, they had to get rid of this Wood first. Alright, Wood, his junior brother almost killed elder brother. Let me directly cremate this bastard. Xiao He said hatefully. Xiao He, there's no need for you to get into action. I'll send these two brothers on their way together. A hint of coldness flashed through Qin Yu's eyes. He killed Wu Xing, so he and Wood will not rest until one of them is dead. Qin Yu treated people very sincerely, but Qin Yu showed no mercy to his enemies. Xiao He said approvingly, All right, elder brother, then let me see how formidable you are. Tonight, the capital will be the place where Wood will die. Xiao He, let's find a place to rest first. We'll take action at night. Immediately afterwards, Qin Yu and Xiao Hei swoop down. They casually find a mountain peak and rest there quietly. End of B1C1. End of B1C2. In the past, the capital was the center of the Chu kingdom. Every night, the capital was brightly lit and could be called a city that never sleeps. Prostitutes could be seen everywhere and it was incomparably bustling. However, ever since the war started by the Qin clan, the extravagance and corruption in the capital began to decrease. After that, Shangxian's challenge in the daytime resounded through the entire capital. Tonight the capital is even under martial law. Nobody dares to stroll on the streets late at night. In a quiet courtyard, there is a stone table in the courtyard. Next to the stone table, there are only 2 stone benches. In the past, Wood and Wu Xing used to sit on these benches. However, Wu Xing died, so one of the benches is unoccupied. In the room, there is a small table in the middle of a jade bed. On the left side of the small table, Wood is sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. His long hair draped over his shoulders. Alas! Wood opens his eyes and looks at the right side of the jade bed. In the past, the small table divided the jade bed into 2 parts. He and Wu Xing each sat on one side and practiced quietly together. They have been together for nearly 1,000 years. Now that Wu Xing is gone, Wood cannot help but feel somewhat unaccustomed. Junior brother, don't worry. That Xiang Yang will make trouble for the Qin clan very soon. At that time, I'll definitely go and destroy the Qin clan together to avenge you. A hint of coldness flashes through Wood's eyes. He has never forgotten his junior brother's revenge for even a moment. Suddenly, the door of the room opens by itself. The cold wind of the late night rushes into the room directly. Wood's long hair is blown up by the wind. He narrows his eyes and his entire aura starts to become fierce. Who's there? As soon as Wood finishes speaking, his face suddenly changes color. Boom! Wood's jade bed is close to the stone wall of the room. That stone wall unexpectedly disintegrates directly, as if it has exploded. The broken stones shoot out in all directions. A fist shoots out from the center of the broken stones like lightning. It looks like a shining iron hammer. Wood flies backwards like an afterimage. However, that fist is even faster. Pang! That fist hits Wood's back directly. A dazzling cyan ray of light shines on Wood's back. At the same time, Wood's entire body unexpectedly accelerates again. He flies out of the room like an arrow leaving a bow. A figure then appears in the room. Wood stands outside the room, staring inside. At this moment, there is a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Who's there? Come out! Wood shouts coldly. However, Wood's forehead is oozing with cold sweat. Just now, during the first exchange of blows, he felt that the opponent's speed was extremely fast. Although he discovered the opponent's murderous aura in advance, he was still hit in the back by the opponent's fist. The power of the opponent's fist actually penetrates his protective true inner energy and injures him directly. An expert. The true inner energy in Wood's body is completely activated. His eyes are completely fixed on the figure in the room. That figure walks out of the room. Wood's face suddenly changes color greatly. It's you. Wood's eyes are filled with disbelief. How is this possible? Didn't you die? I saw it with my own eyes. Didn't you and my junior brother perish together? How come you're still alive? Impossible, absolutely impossible. The person in front of him is impressively Mr. Lu Xing, also known as Qin Yu. Why is it impossible? Aren't I standing right in front of you, Mr. Wood? Qin Yu says with a smile. Wood's face changes several times. Then, it becomes frighteningly gloomy. He stares at Qin Yu and says, Qin Yu, I don't care why you didn't die, but, do you think you can deal with me with your strength? I remember that last time, you haven't undergone your tribulation yet. Right now, you're at most at the early Jin Dan stage. You're no match for me. Wood's tone is very certain. Perhaps he wants to convince himself. Just from that punch, Wood has already discovered how powerful his opponent is. Wood, your life. only has 5 seconds left. Qin Yu doesn't say anything else. Instead, he smiles and stretches his muscles. His whole body crackles. Qin Yu murmurs, 5, 4, 3. His mouth is counting, but his body is moving easily. In your dreams. Wood reprimands coldly. He doesn't believe it at all, but his heart is in suspense. The elemental energy in his entire body is completely concentrated on the surface of his body. At the same time, his flying sword flies above his head, hovering, ready to attack at any time. Qin Yu has a hint of a smile at the corner of his mouth. 1. As soon as he says 1, Qin Yu's entire body is surrounded by the illusory light of the stars. At the same time, his entire body rushes towards Wood like a ray of light. When the two of them are only a dozen meters apart, Qin Yu teleports in front of Wood. Wood suddenly opens his eyes. His flying sword moves according to his will, shooting directly towards Qin Yu. Bang! Qin Yu suddenly punches out. The flaming glove, covered in a dark golden glow, smashes against the flying sword. In almost an instant, the flying sword is smashed into pieces. After smashing the flying sword, Qin Yu doesn't stop. Pooh! The flying sword shatters. Wood can't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Qin Yu, who is filled with killing intent, has already attacked with both hands. Star Field. Qin Yu turns into several people, completely surrounding Wood and attacking Wood at the same time. Each person's attack is different. Some are pointing their fingers like swords, some are stretching their hands like claws, some are clenching their hands like iron fists, some are straightening their hands like knives. For a moment, claws, fists, palms, finger swords, and fist fingers are attacking Wood's body. Wood's face, which is covered with surging true yuan, suddenly freezes. His true yuan also weakens. 0. Qin Yu says with an indifferent smile. Then he takes a step forward and walks directly towards the sky. At the same time, with a boom, Wood's motionless body explodes as if it were self-destructing. Blood fills the sky. Qin Yu, whose back is facing Wu De's shattered corpse, casually makes a wave with his right hand behind him. A light silvery stream of stellar energy floats over like a blue ribbon. In an instant, it wraps around a Jin Dan and brings it back. Big brother, you are really straightforward. You used the star field as soon as you attacked. Xiao Hei says to Qin Yu while flying in the sky. Qin Yu shakes his head and says with a smile, not straightforward. I let him live for 4 more seconds. Just now Qin Yu said it would take him 5 seconds, but the real attack only took him 1 second. Even though he said it slowly, Qin Yu's speed was extremely fast. Using the stellar field, smashing the flying sword and killing Wu De only took him 1 second. This would, even the black wind leopard can't catch up with him. Xiao Hei says disdainfully. Qin Yu says with a smile, no, our strength is similar. But when I killed the black wind leopard, I was only at the early nebula stage. Now I am already at the middle nebula stage. Naturally, my attack power has increased several times. Killing an expert of the same level is also a lot easier. Alright, Xiao Hei, let's go and meditate first. When the full moon comes tomorrow, we'll go to the river Wu to fight that Xiang Yang. At the moment Qin Yu is very calm in his heart. After killing Wood, his only target now is Xiang Yang. The morning sun is wantonly sprinkling its warm rays. In the morning, the capital is still bustling and bustling. A middle-aged man dressed in black is walking on the streets of the capital. This middle-aged man is none other than Qin De, who has traveled for almost a day from the town of Xiang to the capital of Ba Chu County. Qin De also knows that his identity cannot be revealed, so he has used the appearance-changing technique to change his appearance. Qin De walks into a tea house. After sitting down, he casually tosses a piece of silver to the waiter and says, "Waiter, did anything special happen in the capital yesterday?" The waiter's eyes brighten as soon as he sees the silver. He immediately picks it up and says politely, "Dear guest, a big event happened in the capital yesterday." A Shangxian was directly in the air and shouted loudly for a man called Xiang Yang. However, that exalted immortal left. But in the end, he said something that everyone in the capital heard. Qin De feels relaxed. Obviously Qin Yu should not have fought Xiang Yang. What did he say? Qin De immediately asks. Tomorrow, on the night of the full moon, on the river Wu. Xiang Yang, let's see if you dare to come. Dear guest, that Shangxian's voice was really loud. Everyone in the world heard it. Everyone in the capital knows it. Since yesterday, a large group of experts and even Xiantian experts have been rushing towards the river Wu. Someone said it must be the place where the conqueror of Western Chu died in the battle. The waiter says affirmatively. Qin De gives a faint smile and nods to himself. On the river Wu? The river Wu is so long. Who knows which section it is on? If we're talking about which section of the river Wu is a bit famous, it might be the place where the conqueror of Western Chu died in the battle. Then he relates it to this person called Xiang Yang, so he is even more certain about this judgment. After drinking the tea, Qin De leaves the capital directly for the river Wu. In the Weiyang Palace. The gate of the Weiyang Palace opens automatically. Xiang Yang, dressed in a black robe, walks out of the Weiyang Palace. Tonight is the night of the final battle. Now it is still daytime. However, Xiang Yang decides to go to the place of the battle in advance. Xiang Yang is not a reckless man. Before the battle, he will go and observe first. Otherwise, if the opponent sets up formations or restrictions, it will be terrible if he is not aware of them early on. Master, it's not good. Wu De is dead. Lan Xuemo runs over from afar and says immediately when he sees Xiang Yang. Xiang Yang raises his eyebrows. I know. Xiang Yang does not say much. He sneers in his heart. Humph, are you two trying to intimidate me? But, for me, a Jin Dan stage Wu De is dispensable. Xiang Yang lifts his robe. His whole body soars into the sky and flies in the direction of the river Wu. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.